Just can't take this damn parade. Who cares? Yo, there's a 2-mile wait to get past the damn green line.
Anyone who gets scared by a bear in the neighborhood, call Joe Murray.
I happen to trust Joe Murray.
First time I ever met Joe Murray was at a...
Oh, welcome in 98.5, the Sports Hub of Joe Murray. Full show. Well, as long as the Celtics keep playing, we'll be interrupted, and that's a good thing. I actually like that. I like being interrupted by the Celtics, because they're down 3-2 in the series and have a chance now to even the series in New York. The best road team in the NBA this year, best road team, has a chance to even the series in New York and then force a Game 7 here in Boston. We're going to react to it right now. When you look at the Boston Celtics and where they're at the moment, was it a master class of teamwork? I think I saw Gary Washburn write that last night. A master class in teamwork? Certainly looked like it. There's a lot to talk about that teamwork comment, but they did show resilience last night. People wrote them off. It seemed like people weren't even at the game last night. A lot of people, I wondered if they were even watching, because not a lot of people gave the Celtics a chance with Jason Tatum being out in his injury. But what happened? The same old. Celtics built their 5th double-digit second-half lead of the series. But unlike Game 1, unlike Game 2, unlike Game 4, they held on. And it was poise. It was aggression. These are some of the things that Washburn wrote. I'll read some things from Chris Forsberg as well. But the superstar of the game was Jaylen Brown. Yeah, he had 26 points, 8 rebounds, 12 assists. He was a plus 28. His career high, 12 assists, led to 33 points on the night. He had 6 of his team's 12 deflections on the night. When on defense, New York shot 6 of 16 when guarded. And Brown guarded Brunson 42% of his possessions. There was a great hustle play diving into the bench. It set the tone. On a fourth quarter sequence, Brown passed up an open 3 in the shot clock. They would have been all over it in the previous games, right? Instead, drove down the baseline, found an open Drew Holiday, went in for the layup. They went up 106-83. There was 7 minutes and 36 seconds left in the game. They ended up on a 55-31 run in the 19-minute stretch after the game was tied at 65 early in the third quarter. Derek White was awesome again. A team-high 34 points. But no doubt about it, Brown was the leader last night. Kept the foot on the pedal. There was 11 lead changes heading into the game in those first 3 quarters, but they took care of business. And getting back to Derek White for a minute here, couldn't believe I saw this one, but he's just the 3rd player ever to record at least 34 points, 3 blocks, and 7 made threes and 11 free throw attempts in a game. He's the first to ever do it in the playoffs. There was another record we'll get into in a bit. The only other people to do that were Luka Doncic and Victor Wembanyama, regular season. And can we give Joe Mazzulla some credit? Again, you'll hear things such as the team looks better without Jason Tatum because they play team ball. Or, wow, when Jaylen Brown can be the man, he looks like this. You'll hear all those things. What I will tell you is they played defense, and they rebounded the basketball. That's what I'll tell you they did. I also think their coach made the right adjustments. How about giving Peyton Pritchard more minutes? How about Luke Cornett over Kristaps Porzingis? They attacked Brunson, and they defended him finally. There was a great challenge in the game. Tied at halftime. Boston outscored New York 68-43. The Celtics had more assists Then New York had made field goals, 16-10. So what now? Now the pressure, it shifts to New York in another closeout game against a shorthanded team. New York doesn't want to come back to Boston. Winner take all, Game 7 on Monday. That's what we're rooting for over here. I'd like to have a game tomorrow night, talk about it all weekend, and Game 7 right here on the Sports Hub. New York, Boston, battling it out. But just getting back to Brown, Mazzulla, we saw a better Jaylen Brown last night. I saw a Jaylen Brown we've never seen before. And by the way, he's never put up those numbers. 12 assists, 8 rebounds. He hasn't done that. You saw him do more last night. I think he wants to be the guy, and again, I'm not making this a Tatum versus Brown thing. But this is where I bring up Mazzulla and the philosophy for the people that don't like the three-point philosophy. We keep talking about the future and the changes and what could the team look like, etc. But doesn't the philosophy and the system work? You pulled the best player on the team out. You gave more touches to Brown, more to Pritchard, and you added a stable big man who drove to the basket constantly and was very good defensively. You weren't good on defense, and you weren't good in the front court. You made the adjustments. But is it about the Mazzulla system, the Mazzulla ball? Again, last night they put up, 120-something points? I'm not sure if you need the best players to play this style of basketball. And that's why when I think ahead, I do think Joe Mazzulla is the right guy. If they got to make cost-cutting moves, I think the philosophy works. It worked last year. We'll find out in a Game 6 if the math still works. But it was defense. It was putting pressure on Jalen Brunson. And it was about not backing down and being resilient. And the Celtics did all those things last night. We'll lead it off there at 617-779-0985. We're also on YouTube. What's up to our YouTube fam? I already see everybody in there now. Carrie Ann, got the brokerage babe. Joe's in there. Our regular crew all hanging out tonight. And, of course, you can just go to YouTube, search 98.5 The Sports Hub, become a subscriber, and then you can chat right into the show. Skaz is here as well. We got giveaways. We got in or out. We got musings. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight here on the show. We'll take a quick break. I'm Joe Murray. You're listening to 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. More Joe Murray.
Honey. I thought they would win last night. I really did. I thought they would rally around the Tatum injury. I thought they would have to get more contributions, and they certainly did. I was really impressed with Jaylen Brown's night. Although I know Derek White somewhat kept him in the game like he has all series long, White's been not great defensively. But Jaylen Brown last night, the 12 assists, the 8 rebounds, Jason Tatum does that on a nightly basis. He's very consistent at doing that. You pull him out, you run the same philosophy, and it's Brown that has the big assist night and almost double-digit rebounds and continues to put up 20 points. So, I just look at it as that's the team philosophy that works. If they lose Brown, they lose a dynamic player that can get to the basket and a great defender. And he's probably one of the best guys at, off the dribble that they have. So, as far as Jaylen Brown's night, he had to do more and he did. I give him credit for it. I thought he had an absolutely great night. But there was a moment there that I think did change the game a bit. Jaylen, after the game, says he believes in the group and don't count us out just yet. He had all those quotes after the game. But he was great. Both sides of the ball. Every minute he played last night was an impact, and I guess he addressed the team. He addressed the team, I believe, and the bench, and hounded Jalen Brunson all night and was the leader that they needed in Game 5. I know Zach Cox from the Herald had a nice little write-up about the impact that he made last night, but the one thing that stood out to me, I did halftime yesterday here on the station. They kick it right back in first play of the game, first play of the half. Jalen Brunson's kind of pushes off on Jaylen Brown. And Jaylen Brown got right in his face. And I go, okay, they're not ready to quit. See, I thought Brunson was a fish yesterday. Flopping around all out there. And he smelled like one, too. But Jaylen Brown wasn't going to get pushed around by Jalen Brunson. The Celtics weren't backing down. They won the third quarter. I mentioned the exchanged shoves with Josh Hart as well. I know it was Brunson, but it was Hart that he really got into. And then it was on. They held the Knicks to just 17 points in the quarter, and they only shot 20%. What did Boston do? They avoided dribbles, turnovers. That's been killing them all season long. They swung the ball around. And the things that I really noticed was that assist to Drew. He could have settled. He didn't. There was something I mentioned in the game that I thought was different in Game 3 was the up fakes. They were up faking the ball, getting past the defender. But also, they went at Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns. They unraveled in the game. So I am curious how those two bounce back from some disappointing performances. No doubt about it. And I do think there's a lot of pressure on New York now. I do. But they played inspired basketball. No doubt about it. They avoided elimination. They'll play Friday night at Madison Square Garden, winner take, and then maybe a winner take all in Game 7. The message was to come out and play, and the Celtics absolutely did that last night. Brown led his team on the court. I mentioned some of the things he mentioned off the court. Mazzulla, after the game, thought that his hustle play into the stands was what changed the game. They had a 1-point lead at halftime. 2 minutes later, they were up 14. You saw leadership from Jaylen Brown last night, no doubt about it. But they gave up 121 points in New York on Monday night. And Brown was very critical after the game, saying that he was terrible defensively. They held him under 105 points for the fourth time now in the series. So, see if they can lean on Jaylen Brown once again. Skaz, you got anything on last night's game? I want to commend Jaylen Brown for the game he had. Leadership, was bouncing around out there. Derek White kept him going. I think Drew Holiday's getting going now. Al Horford had a pretty good outing. They gave more minutes to Pritchard, and I thought Missoula made the right adjustments.
Yeah, I thought that was easily Jaylen Brown's best game of this postseason run. He's been kind of inconsistent at times this run. I thought he was absolutely tremendous last night on both ends. He was everywhere. He was locked in from the start. And that's what you want to see out of, reigning finals MVP, Eastern Conference Finals MVP. Like that's what he should bring to the team, on a nightly basis in the playoffs. I do think last night's, win should frustrate you when it comes to games 1 and 2, just letting those slip away with such poor performances, poor shooting. And, we're going to get the Tatum takes. They're all over there. The ball moves better without Tatum, all that. But it's not true.
Can we talk about the philosophy for a minute?
Yes.
Do you think Missoula ball can work if they have to move on from some people?
I think versions of Missoula ball can work if they have to move on from some people, yes.
Okay, so last night, Tatum's not involved. I'm not making this a Tatum discussion. I'm making this a Missoula ball discussion. Wasn't it Jaylen Brown who had to do more last night? Like he had to do more.
Yeah, and I thought Joe's rotations were better. He finally went away from Porzingis. That was something that felt like fans had been begging him to do, attacking Brunson more, on the defensive end. Cornette was obviously tremendous. And Pritchard. Pritchard's been really good, in this series when he's been out there. When they play him, 30-plus minutes, he's been a difference maker. So I'd look for that to continue tomorrow night. And yeah, I think, I don't want to say Jaylen Brown's best game of his Celtics career, but I thought last night was right up there. I thought Jaylen Brown was as good as he's maybe ever been, and that does frustrate you when you look back at the beginning of the series because they were so bad. They were awful, and Jaylen Brown was. It's weird. He's almost more under control. When he has the ball more, which you would think would kind of be contradictory that. The more it's in his hand, the more turnovers he's going to have. But maybe that's just the kind of player he is, where he needs it more because he almost looks out of control at the beginning of the series, trying to force stuff, not letting it come to him. And last night he kind of dictated the pace and set the pace himself. So I thought Jaylen Brown, obviously Luke Cornette was kind of the story last night, but I thought Jaylen Brown was unbelievable last night.
I think Jaylen Brown's had explosive games, right? Where he showed his athletic ability and dunks and playing defense. And last night was more about being unselfish, right? Making the extra pass. He made people better last night.
Yeah, and I think that's something that Jaylen Brown hasn't always done a great job of. He gets criticized for his lack of assists, his lack of getting teammates involved. And then you see the evolution last night where he brings that into his game and he's more of a complete player. I think that should kind of frustrate you.
I agree. So, Skaz, last night we're watching the game together. You were annoyed or you were bothered.
Yeah, just about games 1 and 2 and how long it took them to go away from Porzingis and attack Brunson and the Pritchard. I mean, I just mentioned it, but it just felt like a lot of those things we were seeing in real time, game 1, game 2, and then we get to game 5 and, I don't know if it's because Tatum got hurt or what it was, but they finally make some of those adjustments and you're like, oh, okay, well, even your guy Sam Hauser's out there, making a bucket or two, Joe. So I don't know if we'll be seeing that on the road. Role players, bench players on the road always can be a different story, but I thought Missoula was much improved last night.
It upset me that in a do or die situation, they went until the die situation to move on from Porzingis. And, what he said after the game was he can't breathe. There's something's going on with him. They can't rely on him.
I would say that's not good. I would say that's not a good sign.
I would also say that's not good. I also don't want to take a victory lap and saying that Luke Cornette was the better option, but he was. He is right now.
He's been good all year. Obviously last night was an outlier with the number of blocks and how active he was, but he's been a really solid player for the Celtics all year. I mean, and I think, obviously Tatum's out, all that, but one of the most effective Celtics, offensive things they did all year was the Tatum-Cornet pick and roll. And so I think that should frustrate you as well. Where was that in games 1 and 2? Where was that game 3 and 4? Like, that was a legit thing the Celtics were doing during the regular season, getting good looks in the Tatum-Cornet pick and roll, and they just abandoned it against the team in New York where you could kind of exploit that matchup.
I get some wild numbers on Porzingis on and off the court. That it took until Game 6, or what are we at? Game 5 now. It took until Game 5, a half of Game 5 to make the decision. That's on Mazzulla. That's on him. Now, can Cornet do it again? We'll get into Cornet coming up in a little bit. Let's take a couple of calls here. Again, we're full show tonight. And then we get the Celtics tomorrow night, Game 6. I'm excited for it because I don't know what to expect. I don't know if we're going to get a pants crapping or if you're going to see the heart of a champion. Dan, he's in New Hampshire. Hey, Dan.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on. First off, I want to express my sincere condolences for Tatum. I wish him nothing but a speedy recovery, and I thank him for his service. However, no matter my sympathies, I think anyone with half a brain and basic vision can tell that this team is much better without Tatum, and that might sound shocking to you, but I encourage you to go rewatch the second half of that game and compare it to the second halves in games 1 through 4. As you know, and it's undeniable, Tatum is a black hole, especially in clutch time. When the team has a lead, we keep dishing it to him to make these insane shots. No one else is getting good touches. No one's getting good looks. When you look at last night, though, everyone's getting involved, and the team just looks way better.
Do you think that situationally they had to be better?
I think that, if you're looking at that game, they've had to be better the whole series. I mean, I don't think it's just like, last night they just woke up situationally. I mean, are you in Game 4? It's the same kind of situation. Like, that's a must-win game, I would say. Games 1 and 2 at home.
So you're out on Jason Tatum?
I'm out. I think we move on from him, personally.
Really?
I do. And I thought this for a while. I mean, you're going to get a much better player, I think, than Tatum on the team.
Well,
and I think again, it's obvious.
Well, let's talk. Who are better players than Jason Tatum?
Well, Giannis is an interesting prospect.
Okay, he can't shoot.
You got other guys that can maybe
hasn't made it out of the second round since he won a title 5 years ago.
Okay, fair enough. How about this? Let me ask you this: what about Brunson? You're taking Brunson or Tatum?
Tatum. Without even thinking about it. He plays defense.
Interesting.
He rebounds the ball.
I think Brunson is just a better fit in our team. Like, we need someone in the clutch that can carry us.
Yeah. How much do you watch a lot of basketball?
I have common sense. I can see. I have vision.
No, listen. I think
I have sight.
I think you have vision. Don't get me wrong. But do you watch the games?
From time to time.
Thank you. Court is adjourned.
You can't help these people, Joe.
If you want to have the conversation that last night without Jason Tatum on the court, they passed the ball more, had more assists, and played more team basketball, I'll agree with you. But
100%.
But I don't think it's because Jason Tatum wasn't on the court. I think they would have done it because they got embarrassed by the New York Knicks.
How'd they move the ball last season? How'd they move the ball in the postseason last year? Joe, what if I told you Jason Tatum leads the Celtics in passing?
Is that true?
What if I told you he led the playoffs in assists last year?
Yeah, we could do one of those, like, what if I told you? Kid from St. Louis who went to Duke.
What are we doing?
No, this is what happened today. See, again, Skaz, I'm only saying other people will tell you we're green teamers. All right? I am being as unbiased as I possibly can.
Can I give you my biggest issue with that call?
Please, yes.
And I love Jaylen Brown. I think Jaylen Brown is a tremendous basketball player. The Celtics need him and Jason Tatum to win titles. Mm-hmm. Where are the Jaylen Brown, if we're going to be labeled as the Tatum guys, where are the Jaylen Brown people, games 1 through 4? So if he can do what he did last night, Where is that?
Yeah,
when the Celtics won the title last year, we've done this numerous times, it was because Jaylen Brown finally met Jason Tatum's level.
Yes.
Jaylen Brown is far more inconsistent than Tatum.
Yes.
I think he's tremendous player, all NBA level, all that stuff.
He's the 1A, 1B.
Absolutely.
There's 1B.
That's where the frustration for me comes in, is they have one game like that, and it's like, well, Jaylen Brown's the guy. Then where was he in the Magic series or in games 1 through 4 in this series?
Like, I loved the game he had. 12 assists, 8 rebounds. But Tatum does that every night. And they tell you he sucks or he's not clutch when he does it. I don't want to be I hope we're not being labeled a Tatum defender here. I'm making it about the philosophy. I'm making it about that. Last night, Tatum was out. Brown filled the role as the star. You know, by the way, didn't Derek White score more points? Like, if we're talking offensively, didn't he play the same game and shoot the more? The guy's had the most threes in the series.
The guy that leads the team in assists, bad at passing.
My problem with that call is this. We work for 98.5 The Sports Hub, the home of the Boston Celtics. Myself and Skaz work the games. All right, if there's 82 games plus playoffs, we probably work 70 games a year. We watch. I feel like we can analyze the game pretty well. Again, other shows will tell you we green team. And I asked that caller, do you watch the league? He says from time to time. That is the problem. People aren't watching the rest of the league. When you say, hey, the Celtics should get somebody better than Jason Tatum, tell me who that is. And then you throw Giannis at me? Like, this is what I don't like about being here, is that there are listeners to other shows who don't watch basketball. So they take the word of those guys, yet the guys who watch it, we tell you like it is, but you want to tell us to trade the guy. And then we ask you who's better, and you don't have an answer. Your answer sucks. I get emails all the time. Oh, Joe, you agree, blah, blah, blah. It's like you're all listeners of other shows and brainwashed by it. Chris is in Swansea. Hey, Chris.
Hey, what's up? That last caller that we should trade Jason Tatum is ridiculous. With Jason Tatum, you think of a snow-capped mountain. We're at the peak. But without him, we're still in that snow cap. We're not down the bottom of the mountain. And, yes, at the end of some tight games, sometimes he will try to play some iso ball and miss a pass or not pay attention. But the team itself is not a number 1, number 2 seed year after year without Jason Tatum. So, yes, they might have moved the ball around a little bit more than normal. No, they're not. There's no way of getting rid of Jason Tatum and making Jaylen Brown the guy. So it's ridiculous.
I think they're both great, and they both should stick together. They both need each other. It's a great they complement each other so well. They complement each other so well. Why does it got to be one versus the other? Why does it have to be that way? It's really annoying. Like, it's annoying, and I almost wonder, like here we are doing a show. Like, are people like with it? Like, is that what it's about for you? Is let's start a Tatum versus Brown thing tonight? You know, they should move on from him. It's really annoying.
I would argue
Matt's in Providence. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Joe. Long time. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And it's really almost insidious the way the fan base sort of backpacks one over the other. I would argue that Tatum wouldn't have been able to comfortably become what he is. By the way, 700 games over 8 seasons. You're talking about a player that no one has more points, no one has more minutes, no one has more availability. No one's ever, at his age, never missed a postseason more than this player. And I would say that without the support and comfort of a pad like Jaylen Brown, wherever you categorize them one over the other or the inverse, it's not a fair thing to say. I think we all want to see our franchise, for lack of a better player, back. But in his absence, let's get the support and back of one Jaylen Brown, who has and does occupy a Finals MVP and Eastern Conference Finals MVP. Joe, thanks so much for taking my call. Couldn't agree with you more.
Thank you. I think they need each other. Hey, for all the people that think Tatum should be gone, here you go. It's Jaylen Brown's show now. I just don't think that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the philosophy. You pull one out, you put the other one in, puts up the same numbers. Like, that's a good thing, people. It's okay to have one guy be the alpha and the voice and the team leader and the other guy to just show up and play basketball. It's okay. It's okay. But if you're just a casual, like, here I am about to throw facts in your face. But when you say that Jason Tatum's not clutch, you don't know the numbers. Therefore, you just are ignorant and you don't know. So it's like really upsetting. But like, you can call in and just have that opinion and that take without facts. TJ's in Newton. Hey, TJ.
What's going on, fellas?
Yo.
I am 100% with you that Tatum and Brown both need each other. I'm 100% keeping them together. But you could almost argue that those comparisons in the past, the whole 1A, 1B thing, Jaylen Brown has almost come to a consensus to himself that, yeah, I am the 1B, and he's accepted that role. And that's the reason why he is when Tatum's in the game. Now, you have a game that last night that Tatum's out of the game, and he goes off like he did. That's why, because he was the 1A.
Correct. They both can be 100%. The 1A whenever you need them.
100%. And you know, so people saying, like, get rid of one or the other, I just don't understand that.
Listen,
clearly, they both need each other.
Jason Tatum handles the ball more than Jaylen Brown because Jaylen Brown turns the ball over more. That's why.
Sure. Yeah.
It's not a slight on Brown. It's just why he does it.
Yep. Yeah. He's a little bit over energetic going to the rim. I'd agree with that. And not as, but
his phone stinks. Sorry, buddy. Wow. I listen. Here you go. You want Jaylen Brown to be the 1A? Here we go. I almost put the hammer down, Skaz, where I said we're not doing this tonight. But you know what? Let's do it. My take is it's not about either one of them. It's about the philosophy. Now, do you need good players? Do you need good shooters to play the Missoula philosophy? Oh, yeah. Like, you do. You need good players. Like, they found Derek. Hey, Derek White was a starter and a bench guy with San Antonio. You plug him in here, he's been great, right? Like, I think there are guys that can play. Drew Holiday can play the system. Al Horford's played it now for a couple of years. They're all good players, though. They're good players. Now, I don't know what's going to happen to the college player that comes in right away. I don't know. I don't know the guy that's been on another team that comes here. I don't know. What I can tell you is, without Tatum, Brown carried the load and put up almost the same numbers as Jason Tatum. We'll take a quick break. Can we talk about Luke as we're on it? Luke around and find out. That's exactly what happened last night. We'll get to the headline here. I'm Joe Murray.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
All right, well, there is a Game 6 tomorrow in New York. We got all the coverage here on the sports. It begins at 7:30, tip-off sometime after 8 p.m. We do have an NBA game tonight. How about it? OKC looks to...
Sports Hub.
Hart out there with Bridges, Robinson, McBride, and Anunoby. Josh Hart, bounce pass for Anunoby against Derek White. Anunoby muscles his way in, blocked again by Cornette. He saves it from going out of bounds to Hauser. Luke Cornette having the game of his life with the season on the line. Jaylen Brown, pump fake on Hart. Throws back to Sam Hauser, moves it right side, Derek White. Up fakes, turns the corner, drives, hands to Cornette. Plenty of time for the shot clock, shovels back to Hauser, and we're back to Cornette. Two-hand slam, and Luke Cornette is not going to let the title defense die.
No, he wasn't. Blocking shots, saving him out of bounds. Running the court, dunking, pick and roll, bang, bang, boom. Luke around and find out. That one's going to just last like a little while. Been coming up with a lot lately, guys. Feel like we need like a, if we had like a team that did all these, they would just pump them out, I say a lot of things during a show that could go on a t-shirt. Anyways, to rephrase, this station has we have P1s who listen all day long, right? But there are these listeners that just like listen to their show every day that don't watch basketball. And they hear people talk basketball and take it as gospel.
Hear people talk basketball that don't watch basketball either.
Yes. And then the people that don't watch the basketball who talk to those listeners crap on the people who actually watch basketball. So it's a weird, is that a dichotomy? Is that the word?
Sure. Why not?
It's now bothering me. It's bothering me because, it's like we're here for what? What are we here for?
The Celtics are better without Jason Tatum. They better win the title then.
Okay.
They better beat the Knicks. They better beat the Pacers and win the title.
Okay. Listen, if they get past this series and beat the Pacers and go to the final,
unbelievable success.
I will. What do you want me to do? Do you want me to say?
Put it up to a poll. What will Joe Murray do?
I'll. No. I think they're a good team. I still think they're a good team without Tatum. I do. But is there this hurdle of championship without Tatum? I mean, there's a fine line.
Yeah, I worry about the bounce too. Like you got the teammate bounce last night. Everyone was locked in. I worry I know it's game 6 in the Garden, but the human element, I worry about a slight letdown. And I don't mean like their intensity or anything like that, but just the 48 to 72 hours this team has had. That's a lot, mentally to go through. I just hope that they're rested, prepared tomorrow night.
Yeah. I think Jaylen Brown has a chance right now to be number 1. I think he's wanted, or has at least been confident that if he was a number 1, he'd perform. And he's done that. And there's nothing that he's ever done for me not to think so, besides the Game 7 when Tatum got hurt. That might have been his worst performance ever. But how'd he bounce back? And Skaz, you said it because I've rode this train for a long time. Like, Jaylen Brown finally played to the potential we all thought he could. Now, this year, he's helped in different ways. He's been more unselfish. He had the knee injury. They took time with it. And at times, he is the guy that is the alpha on the team. He's the vocal leader. But I will say, when it comes to consistency, there's nobody more consistent than Tatum. That's not a slight on Brown. It's just, to your point, they got the bump. Can they do it again in New York? I think they can. The betting line thinks they can too. We'll get to that coming up in a little bit. So, but yeah, this is the time. This is the time. Now we get to see what can Brown do for you?
What can Luke Cornette do though? Like you can't expect the same Luke Cornette performance in Game 6, but I still think he can give you enough.
Do you know what I hope he can do? His presence alone might make them bite on him and help the shooters. Like if he's in there for the pick and roll, they're going to go with him and it might leave Jaylen Brown wide open for a mid-range jumper.
I'm still waiting for the Luke Cornett 3. That was his specialty. That's what he came into the league doing, and now he's the only guy on the Celtics that doesn't do it. Yeah, maybe he takes a couple. really, really put the Knicks on their heels.
All right, well, I think the Tatum-Brown thing really got people going. And I didn't even make it about that. Some caller did. I just think the philosophy, you can insert good players and it works. Does it win a championship? I don't know. But you still get a star player and some other good ones. Can you beat the New York Knicks? Griffin's in air. Hey, Griffin.
Hey, Joe. Yeah, so the guy that called and said Brunson over Tatum is an absolute idiot, but I'm not going to sit here and, act like I'm some, savant, but I watch a lot of ball and kind of a nerd about it, and this happens all the time where your star player is going to miss a game and the team plays a little better. For one, the Knicks are now going to have to play different defensively when Tatum's not on the floor, so it's a total different game plan that they're going to have to guard when their main focus is Tatum. And the whole Tatum-Brown thing, obviously I love Jaylen Brown, and, he showed up last night. He definitely answered the bell, but he gets to hide behind Tatum for the majority. I mean, for the games 1 through 4, he was brutal in this series. It's 23-6 on 22% shooting. So, now that he showed up, I'm glad that he did, and I obviously want him to stay on the team, and I agree with you, you keep them together. But it's a whole different type of game plan when you take Tatum out. So they're going to play really good, obviously. Not obviously, but just they're going to play good without him for that one game. I think Game 6 is going to look a lot different. I still think the Celtics can absolutely win that game. And, yeah, they may move the ball more, like a few callers have been saying, but that's just due to what they have to do in the game plan they're implementing. Jaylen Brown, great player, but just Tatum being off the floor is a different challenge for the Knicks because they have a game plan to try to stop Jason Tatum. So,
thank you. Yeah, I don't mean to cut you off. We're just against it. You're right. Tim, you're right. Another Tim in Plymouth. Hey, Tim.
Hey. So I don't think you're wrong with the philosophy part of Celtics basketball, but I feel like Joe Mazzulla, his philosophy with the three-pointer, I think Tatum gets too, trigger happy, and you saw it in Game 4 where he was just, at the end of the game, he's so ball dominant, and he's bringing the ball up, where, Derek White or Pritchard in this game brought the ball up.
Yes, but I agree. More movement, but the other thing is this, dude. Nobody else was scoring offensively. Nobody.
But I get that, but there's it's like the LeBron and Kobe factor where
I disagree, and I don't mean to cut you off, man. It's just Brown was on the bench with 5 fouls, and when they brought him into the game, he turned the ball over immediately. Brown didn't pull his weight. He didn't do it defensively either. But he dribbled the whole entire time, and then nobody moved. They just watched Jason Tatum. So if you think that's the problem, okay. Now I sound like a Tatum defender. Well, let's do more of this, Skaz. We have to take a break because we have time constraints that we need to meet. And this hour of the Sports Hub has been brought to you by our friends over at Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Enjoy quick and convenient vehicle maintenance this month. Visit NewEnglandOilChange.com to save 15% off your next drive through oil change at Valvoline Instant Oil Change, the official oil change of busy people. I'm Joe Murray, and according to our YouTube chat, hang up the call, Joe. We will do that next on the Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
League of One, Brian Rubb, works over at Mass Live. Does a great job for them, and we haven't had him on. So we're going to do that. And then, well, a man that was in the building last night that was commended by one man as the man of the people, and the reason why he gets paid the big bucks over at Barstool Sports. His name is Dan Greenberg, and we're going to talk to StoolGreenie again. You know who? It'll be fun to have Greenie in studio for a night.
I want to see Greenie and McCone. The old Worcester backcourt duo there.
Oh, is that so? That's true.
I believe so. Yeah.
I heard. You know who I've confirmed? Jay King can play too. I've heard. No, but I feel like if we came in here, I'd want to give Greenie a whiteboard. You know, and like all the things that people have said tonight. Like tonight, we could just a list of the takes that have been giving. That we, you know, when we get our new interns, we should put them on we should do a take temp.
You know what? You just made the list.
There you go. We haven't used that one in a while. That's a hot key, right?
Oh yeah, list talk.
So for those who don't know, in radio, our production, what else is in the hotkeys up there tonight?
Oh boy, the Joe Murray hotkeys are an interesting place.
We haven't updated them in a while.
Woo! That's a classic.
Holy mackerel there!
It's Don and Carver. He's a P1.
Tell me likey. Tell me want wingy.
On the regular right there. Just right there, ready to go when you need it. Is that it?
You sure about that?
There we go. That's a good one. We should play that one tonight.
Of course, I could get a hell of a good look at a T-bone steak by sticking my head up a bull's ass, but I'd rather take the butcher's word for it.
Bull's ass.
By the way, did you see the bees in Boston yesterday?
Always ass.
How do we forget that one? Always. Huh? How's he feel about the game tomorrow? I wonder what he thinks.
Can you dig it?
Sucker. All right, well, those are the hotkeys, everybody. Let's talk to some people. Hey, Justin and Lynn, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, Joe, it's Justin. I have a thought on the Celtics. I thought they played really well last night. I thought they moved the ball. They played as a team, and you know what? I have a good feeling about tomorrow night. And I think people that are saying that they're better without Tatum is ridiculous. It's a team game. It's not just on one player. It's a team game, Joe, and that's how I feel. And I have to call out people who say they're better without Tatum. That's just wrong. I don't believe that, Joe.
I don't either, Justin. It is a team game, damn it. Amir is in Quincy. Hey, Amir.
Hello?
Hey, Amir, you're on the air.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I just had a question. Sorry about that other guy that called. He's talking about Jaylen Brunson is better than Tatum. That was crazy. But would you, if you were the Celtics front office, would you do a trade straight up this offseason, Giannis for Tatum, straight up?
Never.
All right, my thing is why.
Your thing is what?
I want to know why. Because look, I think Tatum next year could be the best player in the world. That's my thing. But from like a business perspective, I think that if you have Giannis slashing to the paint with all these shooters, Drew Holiday, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, all the shooters that we see him have the paint pressure, it's better than shooting like him kicking out to like Bobby Portis. If you watched against the Patriots, he was kicking out to Bobby Portis, Kevin Porter Jr., even Gary Trent. Like from a business perspective, I think that actually would make a lot of sense for the Celtics. I don't know if they should do it, but I just want to hear your thoughts on what do you think about that?
I don't think Giannis can shoot. I don't think Giannis can shoot free throws. I don't think he can defend like Tatum. I ain't gonna lie to you. That's horrible. He's a great defender, great rim protector. He can rebound the ball. He doesn't need to shoot in the system at all. He's probably the best slasher in the league, and he's gonna be able to be isolated one-on-one drives to go into the paint. With all these shooters that we have, I think that's like literally the most perfect fit. Hey, Amir.
Yeah.
Would you trade Jaylen Brown for Giannis?
Jaylen Brown for Giannis? 100%. 100 without a doubt.
So then why are you giving up Tatum then?
That's what I'm saying. The only player that, from the Bucks' perspective, the only player you could even like fathom to get in return for Giannis is Tatum. Like those are the only two players in the same caliber. You know what I'm saying? Like no, Tatum is like elite. And he's coming off an ACL injury, too, so you don't know how he's going to come back from that.
I don't understand what you're saying. I don't.
Wait, but why not? Like before you cut me off, sorry, but like, why not, though? Why don't you understand that?
Because they have to get under a salary cap. So they have this tax that they have to pay, right? So why would the Bucks would love Jason Tatum for $60 million a year. But why would the Celtics like him when they aren't getting out of any help? So it's not smart.
So you're talking from a financial perspective,
well,
right?
I don't know what other perspective. Are we playing fantasy ball here?
No, you just said like Tatum. It's because he can't shoot. But the thing is, I think honestly,
Tatum
Giannis
can't shoot. I said Giannis can't shoot.
You said Giannis. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. You said Giannis can't shoot. That's basketball perspective.
Can
not
you believe Giannis and Missoula ball, bro?
No, I think Giannis. I think Missoula would love it. Giannis is going to drive to the paint and kick out to who? Look, do you know the players that he's going to kick out to?
Do you
no
play
other
video
team.
games?
I watch basketball a lot. I can tell you right now that it's better than kicking out to paint pitcher. It's better than kicking out to Bobby Portis. You know, like it's that simple. The financial perspective does make sense.
What about Damian Lillard?
Damian Lillard, I'm gonna ask you. Damian Lillard has like underperformed and he got hurt, but he definitely underperformed. I think that's fair to say. And he's like what, 30, 33?
The thing with Giannis is he's 30, and his game is solely based on his athleticism. I don't know how good Giannis is at, how his game will age. I don't think Giannis's game will age nearly as well as Tatum's game will age.
Did you, my man? Did you watch the playoffs just now? I think he can do that for. I think he could do that for like another 4 or 5 years.
My man.
I think that.
My man.
Yeah.
I watched him get bounced. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he had zero. He was putting up 30 and 20s. 30. He had no help. Zero help. If he had any help from anybody. The one game Gary Trent drops 30 points, they win. I'm not saying it's a good, like, I love Tatum. I'm a Tatum guy, right? I think he could be the best player in the world next year. But I think especially coming off the ACL, it's interesting. If the Bucks called the Celtics right now, I think that's an interesting conversation that would go on. I don't think it's an immediate no.
I don't think they would consider it at all because, all right, never mind.
You think that was the fastest talker we've ever had on the show?
I don't know. Fast, though.
Very fast. Felt like Milliken on fast forward there.
He watches ball. Do you watch Giannis at the free throw lines, guys? Have you ever timed him before?
Yeah, I've seen the clocks going when Giannis is at the line. Giannis is an awesome player. He's 30. I don't. It's a fantasy land argument.
Giannis can go from one basket to the next with taking only 2 steps. Did you know that? I've watched Giannis go literally on an outlet pass, 1-2 dunk. Now, do I think it was traveling? Yes. Listen, Giannis is probably the best player in the league that can't shoot. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Probably.
I don't know who else is up there, but yeah.
Well, Russell Westbrook can't shoot anymore.
Yeah, yep. He never really could, though.
No, he never could, but he's a pretty good player, right?
I love Russ. He's the Hall of Famer, great player.
Everyone just telling me that there was team basketball and that it looks different with Jaylen Brown and they swing the ball. What does Giannis do? Oh, I think someone said black hole is what I think I heard somewhere. See, this is why we need the list. We need somebody. We need a note taker, like someone who takes notes of the bad takes all night long.
Be a long list, Joe.
I mean, listen, add mine in there, please.
Oh yeah, I've had a couple of doozies.
Like, add mine. I swing and miss all the time.
I'm still holding out hope for James Young. You never know.
Listen, I always tell you, like the year that the J.D. Martinez hit 40 home runs, he had 0 in spring training. I said he's a bust, and he had 40.
Bum.
And I came on the air. I did that on the air. I did that. Christian's in Peabody. Hey, Christian.
Hey, guys. I'm listening to all this chaos, and what we have in front of us is an elite team that needs each other. They're all unselfish, and when things come push to shove and things happen that are unforeseen, like the other night, then they step up. And nobody knows what the next game will bring, and that's the beauty of it, because it's a human element. But you don't get rid of anybody. We'll play this out, because what you have in front of us is something special. And people who are saying trade this and that, no, they don't work as well as they work without each other together. That's that simple.
I agree. Thank you, Christian. Hey, that was a reasonable call. Trying to. My man, we got to trade Tatum for Giannis, my man, is what someone just tweeted at me. Who are the other guys again that were better than Tatum? That I'm still waiting to find out who those guys were. I don't think I heard anybody. Who would you say is better than Jason Tatum?
Nikola Jokic.
Jokic?
Yeah.
Jokic is better. See, the reason why I don't want to say SGA is because he's a guard. Like, I think there are a lot of good guards. But Tatum's, 6'8", and can dribble the ball and do... So it's like kind of, I have him ahead of him. It's hard for me to look around the league and be like, that guy's better than Jason Tatum. It's really hard for me. All right. Well, let's talk to Souichi. Covers Celtics from Mass Live. We'll ask him about Game 6, and man, what a night we've had so far. Someone said, Joe, you're a dough man. I don't know what he meant by that. I make dough, but don't call me dough boy. Let's take a quick break. I'm Joe Murray, 98 Fathom Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. On the way.
right, back here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. Full show tonight, everybody. Talking green, and I think everybody's losing their mind with scenarios and watching what they could do without Jason Tatum. It's just, whew, it's been a wild night. Well, let's talk to somebody who was at the game last night, making his Joe Show debut. We've been talking about him. It is Souichi Terada. What's up, Souichi? How you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me on. I'm good. I'm in my hotel near MSG and ready to talk some hoops.
Nice. Well, obviously Brian Robb is a great friend of the show, and we see your coverage often, and appreciate taking a few minutes here. What was the vibe like last night after the win, after the game? And you mentioned you're in New York. What's it like today? What's the team doing today? And how's everybody feeling?
Yeah, I think the vibe, obviously, as you saw on TV, it was a great atmosphere. I was not maybe surprised, but there were a decent amount of Knicks fans who were making a little bit of noise in the first half, but obviously they went quiet in the second. But I thought it was a great crowd, like Jaylen said, and I thought the fans showed out. I thought the players showed out, right? Like, the organization had been through so much the past couple of days with Jason's injury and everything, so it was good to just get a nice little win in there and everything. Going into Game 6, we'll see. I think a home game is a little bit of a double-edged sword for the Knicks. I've been telling some of my friends, if any team is going to blow a 3-1 lead with the opposing team's best player out, I think it could be the Knicks based on their history over the past 25 years. So in terms of double-edged sword, I think if the Celtics can kind of get out there and get a big lead like they did in pretty much every game this series, I think the crowd will get a little antsy. So I'm curious to see how that looks tomorrow night.
What was the best adjustment you saw from Joe Mazzulla? Did he do anything different, or was it just simple adjustments, or is it because Jason Tatum was out?
I think it helps a lot when you make all of your threes. I think Derek White made his first 4 threes. He scored 14 of the first Celtics 18 points or something like that. So I don't know if you would call that an adjustment besides just making shots, but I thought going to Luke for the most of the second half was huge, just because, one, Kristaps apparently couldn't play just because he couldn't breathe. That's what Joe said post-game. So I don't know if that was necessarily a Joe adjustment, but in terms of just being able to rely on Luke, he had career-high 7 blocks and everything like that. And most importantly, Al Horford only played 24 minutes last night. He had played 29-plus minutes the first 4 games of this series. It's every other game right now. He's about to turn 39 in a few weeks. It was good to get him off his legs, and Luke had a great game. So I think it was just everyone stepping up. Jaylen had a great game, and then by the end of it, it was just, the crowd was into it, and there was no collapse this time.
Did you at all feel like the Celtics didn't want to back down? I know that Brown and Hart kind of got into it at the start of the half. Do you think New York might try to set that type of tone in Game 6?
Yeah, I think they definitely will try to, right? I like the chippiness of playoff basketball, right? I had a friend text me mid-game. He's like, is this overly chippy? What's going on? What are you seeing? And I'm like, this is just playoffs, man. People care. I think it's always great entertainment with these guys, millionaires, right? They care about their craft. They care about winning. So, yeah, I think the Knicks could try to fight back and everything like that. I think the Celtics will be ready, though. I think the biggest, one of the factors that I thought was, Jason didn't particularly play very well in games 1 and 2. And obviously there's a collapse and everything, but that was a whole team thing. But the reason I bring that up is, the Celtics could have very easily won games 1 and 2, and that was with Jason shooting so poorly, especially in the fourth quarter and everything like that. So I'm curious to see how they look. I thought they looked dialed in, like you said, Jaylen and Josh Hart kind of getting into it. Last night was awesome, I thought. Like I said, I like the chippiness. So we'll see. I think the Celtics will be ready, though. Al and Jaylen seem like they got the guys ready in between games 4 and 5. So I'm sure they love the road environment. They set a franchise record for wins this year, so I'm sure they'll be ready to go tomorrow night.
All right, we're talking with Souichi Terada. He is from Mass Live. I'm saying your name right, correct?
Yeah, you're all good. I appreciate that.
Oh, all right. Souichi Terada from Mass Live joining us here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Luke around and find out was what I've been saying all night long. I've loved Luke Cornett. I mean, you're around the guy all the time, right? He's a team player. He's funny behind the scenes. He does interviews, right? He jokes about the Tommy Award, but he also does everything right on the court, right? Pick and rolls, right? He contests when people laugh about it, but he's huge. But he's a good, dependable big and a NBA big. But I think they're missing what he can do. So I don't want to overrate his performance. Do you think he can do that on the road in New York?
Yeah, that's the biggest question, right? It's a lot easier for the role players to play well at home, and we saw that with Luke and everything like that. But like you said, like Luke just does so well. His chemistry with Jason, especially on the pick and roll, like it was evident all season. And I think like when you think Celtics and you think player development, like you think of the guys like Sam Hauser, undrafted, Peyton Pritchard, late first round pick, the sixth man. But Luke is another one of those guys. Like when he got picked up by the Celtics, like people don't really remember this, but he got picked up by the Celtics in February 2021. In the great Daniel Trice trade that also brought in Mo Wagner. And he stuck around. Like the following year, he had to be in Maine up in the G League. That was a weird COVID year, so he actually had 10-day contracts with both the Cavs and Bucks that year before obviously ending up with the Celtics during that finals run against the Warriors. But like he's a great story in terms of player development. And like you said, like he's so funny. Like last night during his media session, it was a few of us because Derek was at the podium, but like it seems like a good 50% of the time, half the time, like Luke's media availability, like kind of goes off the rails in like a good way. Like he's just dropping jokes, kind of being the class clown, kind of being a jester and everything like that. And I would say he's kind of in like a very like unexpected sort of class clown, I would say, just because of his path here and everything. But he's become an invaluable part of the rotation all playoffs. Like him being a playoff contributor, much like Tatum this year, I think gives the Celtics a lot more depth, right? Especially because, like I talked about earlier, like you don't want Al Horford to play 40-plus minutes. I don't think he can at this point in his career at his age. So being able to rely on Luke, especially with Kristaps's kind of illness situation there, like you got a lot going for him, especially for a guy who you essentially picked up as just like kind of a flyer when you traded for him, and now he's probably going to get a decent amount of money this summer in free agency. Yeah,
they own his bird rights, so they can offer him whatever they want. You mentioned Kristaps Porzingis. What do you think the approach will be in Game 6? And is there a player you think who could see action that hasn't yet in this playoff?
Yeah, it's really hard to really forecast Kristaps. I don't even think he knows what's happening right now. Like after Game 4, like he didn't particularly play pretty well, especially in that fourth quarter. He actually came out and, aside from the Jason, obviously the injury, which was a headliner that night, he came out and he said he felt pretty good for the first time in a while. And I was like, oh, maybe he turned the corner and everything like that. Then it comes out in Game 5, obviously last night, he couldn't breathe per Joe Mazzulla. So it's just, I don't think even the Celtics quite know what's going on. It seems like the messaging from like national reporters, local reporters, like it just seems kind of up in the air. And you really feel for the guy. Like Kristaps is probably the best player on the team. So from like a media perspective, we appreciate him. So for him to have this going on, especially after his past playoff question marks, is tough for him. I think if he is, I think they'll give him a go, kind of like Game 1 and Game 5. Like try to give him a go in the first half, but if he can't play, if he feels terrible, then that's I think when you rely on Al Horford or Luke Cornett the rest of the way. But in terms of someone, I think it might just be Torrey Craig again. He got a little bit of minutes. They went to Hacker Robinson again, but that didn't work. I believe Robinson was 6 for 6 from the free throw line. So I think you look at that. I think with Sam Hauser back in the rotation, you feel a little bit better about that. But Torrey Craig is a long-time veteran, so I think he's kind of a guy you look for to fill in any spot minutes here tomorrow.
What do you think New York will do differently?
I think just really try to make shots. I thought because of thing that struck me in the first half was like they were getting offensive production. It was 59-59 at halftime, I believe, and that was kind of the big thing. I was like, okay, this is a great game. Like both teams are throwing kind of haymakers at each other, body shots and everything like that. So I think that's where it starts. I think defensively, they just you can't let the Celtics get on transition and play with pace and everything like that. And the thing I thought was really underrated about last night's game was Jalen's playmaking. Like Joe pointed out the defense rightfully so. Like if you haven't watched Jaylen Brown diving into the Celtics bench to save a loose ball, I thought it was very Marcus Smart-esque, and like it really set the tone for the night and everything like that. But his playmaking, a career high 12 assists. I think you can't let Jaylen get like that, right? Like Jaylen had a pretty bad Game 4, and which was pretty tough, especially in that environment and Jason's injury and everything like that and the loss. So I think they got to kind of key in on Jaylen just because he's kind of taking the onus here, obviously, as the reigning NBA Finals MVP to just kind of get things going. I think the Knicks need to really slow him down there.
All right, Souichi, what's the story with Jason Tatum and his quick Achilles surgery? What makes it different? And I've already eliminated him for next year. And you know the guy, right? Like it's hard to keep him out, right? So is he thinking he can make a comeback in March?
Yeah, I mean, based on the reports, it sounds like that way, right? Like I heard there was a report that Jason's dad basically said it would be like an 8 to 9 month recovery period. I'm not quite sure what that looks like. I'm not no Achilles expert, but I know it sounds like him being in New York especially was very fortunate just because you have world-renowned doctors here, and getting the surgery the very next day was, I think, a huge plus. I mean, it was a little strange, I thought, just because like after Game 4, the day after, everyone's like, whoa, what's going on? Like, there's no Tatum update until right before. I think it dropped at like 4:35-ish, right before the injury report, and it came out that he had successful surgery. So if you're a Celtics fan, I think breathing a sigh of relief. I mean, an Achilles tear isn't great, obviously. Like, you would probably, like an ACL tear almost sounds like preferable in the sense of like, people have come back from that and there's more of a precedent. So Achilles sounds tough, but you got to, like you said, like this is Jason Tatum. He's only 27 years old, entering the prime of his career. The one thing that you don't have to like be worried about is Jason Tatum taking his health seriously, his recovery seriously. Like he's going to attack this rehab process with all he's got, and he's going to have an awesome medical team behind him and everything like that. So, I think you feel good about it for now. It seems like he's going to make a full recovery, and you'll kind of see how the summer looks though from a roster perspective.
All right, Souichi, you think there's going to be a Game 7 on Monday?
Yes, I do actually. Before Game 5, I thought there was going to be the case. Kind of the reason I pointed out was Game 6. Like, I think it happened a little bit at TV Garden as well in Games 1 and 2. Like, when the team is kind of like struggling and like you're putting up an open three, you can kind of hear like the groan of like, oh, they missed that open three. Like, that's a big shot and everything. So I think the flip side will happen with the Knicks. However, I don't know if the Celtics will have enough juice in Game 7. So I actually picked Knicks in 7. I know Celtics fans may not be happy about that, but hey, at least they put themselves in this position.
Never underestimate the heart of a champion. I heard that a long time ago. Rudy Tomjanovich is the old Rockets coach. All right, Souichi, appreciate your time, man. Check out all his work over at Mass Live. Souichi Terada, thank you for joining us here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Enjoy New York.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it. I'm going to go get some good food now.
Yeah. Oh, what are you getting? What's on the menu?
I'm a huge ramen guy because I'm Japanese, so it's a few spots I like here.
Ooh, so what do you think? Do they have like great, what's like the food of choice out there? Like poke bowls, or what are we talking about?
Yeah, so I'm Japanese, so like I'll go to every Japanese spot that I like. Like it's just obviously it's New York, so like any cuisine you can get your hands on, it's going to be good. Like you're going to find some places. So for me, like I grew up eating Japanese food, so that's what I'm going to go get.
You're in the mecca of the world to do that at the moment. Sushi, ramen, grilled chicken, skewers, you name it. Give me some tempura while you're out there. All right, Souichi, appreciate you, bud.
Yep, thank you. Appreciate it.
All righty, Souichi Terada. He's joining us here on 98.5 The Sports Hub, and he's in New York, and I want skewers. So there's certain vegetables I won't eat, but man, you put it in tempura. Whew. And that sauce, I'm a dipper. All right, Skaz, you want to do a giveaway? Just to pump it up a little bit.
Yeah, give the people a little tease, Joe.
A little tease. Game time. They're at the North Shore Mall in Peabody. We've done many of an event there. People have come out and seen me. It's a great time. Caller number 10 right now to the contest line at 617-931-0985 will score a gift card to Game Time in Peabody. They have the best spot on the North Shore to watch Game 6. Not to mention there's the Red Sox game, the NBA, all the other games that are happening. Massive HD TVs everywhere. You won't miss a second of the action. The food, let me give you a recommendation. The pepperoni, the Mike's Hot Honey pepperoni. Great food, cold drinks, screens at every angle, located in Peabody at the North Shore Mall. Easy parking, easy to get to, hard to leave. Visit GameTimeNorthShore.com. Caller number 10. We'll take a quick break. We'll hit the headline. I'm Joe Murray. You're listening to 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
All right, NHL scoreboard tied at 1 right now. 5 minutes to go in the second period between the Capitals and Hurricanes. Carolina leads that series 3-1. Later on tonight, Winnipeg looks to continue their seat. Hey, back here on 90.
Every once in a while. I don't go out much, Joe. I don't run into too many people.
Did you ever see Half Baked?
Yeah, of course.
Do you know when he goes into the bodega and he's trying to get some dime bags, you know? And the guy's like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? And they couldn't remember him. Like, he had to do something in order for them to remember him. So, do you know what he used to do? He'd moon them. And they're like, hey, why didn't you tell us earlier? Sometimes it's like that for me, Skaz. I need like, if somebody said the name Joe Ariano to me, where would that go in my brain? But if it was someone said Street Team Joe, I'd be like, oh yeah, Street Team Joe, yeah. So I just, I sometimes I think I need people to do things for me to remember them. I don't know if you're the same way, but
I think I might be that for some people where they would see my name and not know.
Like James Scarab.
Yeah, like who is that guy? Yeah, I had friends that had no idea my first name was James.
Yeah, you've been Skaz forever, huh?
Yeah, I used to write Skaz on my papers in like middle school. Just abandoned trying to spell the last name.
Anyways, I wanted to do some Patriot stuff, but I'm not sure how much we'll be able to get into this.
Oh, schedule talk, Joe.
Oh, schedule day. All right, you ready for this real quick? Because we got in or out coming up. It's definitely an easier schedule. 3 primetime games. 3 straight roadies. And after the bye, I think it's a gauntlet. Adam Schefter tweeted out today from ESPN. The season's easiest strength of schedule based off last season. Patriots are 3rd behind the 49ers and Saints. So I would take the 49ers to take a jump. Now, the Saints have an easy schedule, but they're one of the worst teams. I think they're tanking for Arch Manning. That's my own opinion.
Yeah, right. That's the grandpa's old team, right?
I mean, doesn't it? It's just like
that's very NBA of them.
Well, I was going to say, at least in the NFL, you can do that. Well, if you want to at the end of the year, we don't have to get into that. Story for another day. But there are some notes regarding the schedule. How about some betting angles out there? Right now, I'm going under 8.5. I've been under 8.5. It was 7.5, and then it went up to 8.5. I'm on the under. The Patriots are favored in 11 games. How many games were they favored in last year?
That would be 0, Joe. Our buddy Ben had that one.
Ben Fox with a W.
Yes.
Just this. Please don't think this is a flex when I say this. I've nailed this thing 4 years in a row. Actually, I hit the year 2000. I hit the Mac Jones year, second year. It would have been his rookie year. But I've nailed the win totals. And last year, I bet worst team in the NFL. And they screwed me. So now I want payback. Under 8.5. I understand the schedule is easier. And they're not playing a lot of top quarterbacks. They aren't. Can they stop the run? Can they stop the run? How about this? Can they win at home? Can they win at home?
One for me is, and we were lucky that Barth and Dolph were here last night. We got to talk a little bit with them. And this is something that Vrabel stressed when he first showed up. Can they beat teams that play bad football? Because last year, they struggled to beat teams that played bad football because they played so much bad football. They
lost to the Titans, dude.
Yeah, if Mike Vrabel...
Who had the number 1 pick?
If Mike Vrabel loses to the Titans, not good. Not good.
And the storyline of the Raiders, the one for me is Will Campbell. Max Crosby, baby. Listen, Max Crosby's a great player, but that guy freaks me out. I would, no, Skaz, I would, if the night before, he'd be in my dreams. If I played left tackle in the NFL or even right tackle, I know he lines up on the right a lot, but they're going to move him around, okay? If I was Will Campbell, I'd have nightmares of Max Crosby. Nightmares. Ashton Genty, right? Rookie. Should we mention Petey Carroll? How
Pete?
Geno Smith walked into Gillette last year and beat them?
Pete and Geno back together.
Did I mention that?
Yeah, I think the Will Campbell thing, he's got Max Crosby and then, Bradley Chubb, Chop
Robinson?
Yes, he's there. And then the Steelers, we can have TJ Watt.
Actually, who's on the Dolphins have guys too, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Chop Robinson.
Chubb and Chop, right?
So, loss. Week 2, Miami. That's prime time Tua.
Well, yes, Tua should be healthy week 2. You would think. You would hope.
That is prime time Tua. Week 2 versus the Pats. Win. What's the 4? Oh, Panthers? Dude, I'm telling you right now. You know how people thought the Celtics would just beat the New York Knicks? Oh, the Pats will beat Carolina. No problem.
Bryce Young looked pretty good at the end of last year.
Mobile quarterbacks. How do Pats do against them?
New head coach, Joe. Faster linebackers.
I'll believe it when I see it. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that they're overrated. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that to get clicks or anything like that. But I think they're going under 8.5. And if they won 8 games, I would tip my cap. That's an improvement. Because you know why? This year is about becoming desirable. This year's not about... I know it's about winning a championship every year. I know it's about making the playoffs. I get it. But becoming desirable again? And spending money while your quarterback is on a rookie deal? Then next year you build more pieces? Then it's playoff aspirations. But for this year, it's about becoming desirable. We got In or Out. It's coming up next here on the Sports Hub.
What's it gonna be, McFly? Are you in or out?
doubt. I'm the one you need for a dirty deed. I'm the best.
You knew it was on. It'd be like The Firm, but it wasn't with Tom Cruise. Next.
All right, Joe. College football is a world that we're luckily not too familiar with. The shenanigans that goes on with it in the Northeast, but the Ohio State's government, I guess is what this reads, has drafted a new bill to fine Fox $10 million if the Buckeyes play certain schools at noon. They have also tried to make planting flags at Ohio State's 50-yard line a felony. Joe Murray, are we in or out on planting a flag at Ohio State's 50-yard line being a felony?
Oh, but you know what now? Pay the fine, right? If you're Michigan and you win, just pay the fine. You're already paying all the other fines. Pay that one too. So a felony, though. Ooh, I don't want one of those.
Is there a softer school than Ohio State? Maybe that'll upset the Patriots head coach and some other people locally, but just how they carried themselves last year and now this, you're going to put laws into place.
They won the national championship, and now they think they can do what they want.
Yeah, incredibly so.
Oh, and Michigan got fined.
Yeah, rightfully so.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like,
do you know
what are we doing?
Do you know who their defensive coordinator is?
I have no idea.
It's Matt Patricia. You think he's behind it?
He does seem like a guy that would take a flag planting a little seriously. But that's college coaches. They're the biggest group of hardos maybe of any profession.
Yeah. So I'm out on a felony.
Yes, rightfully any sane human being would be.
Because you can't get a job.
No, let's make it a felony to plant a flag at your 50. That's reasonable.
That's stupid.
What planet are we on?
What about the noon games? I don't know if I'm stepping on that one either.
Basically, I think it's that they only want to play Michigan at noon, or they don't want to play Michigan at noon.
I wouldn't want to play Ohio State at noon ever. If you're an opposing team, playing Ohio State at noon is out.
How about...
How many times I bet Ohio State at noon, whoever they play, if it's Rutgers or whoever, because they crushed them. Playing at Ohio State at noon for some reason is like... Didn't they lose this year, Ohio State? Not playing at night.
No, I don't
What's his
recall.
name checked down and remember he didn't know
McCord there?
No, not McCord. This year.
Oh, yes.
But remember he didn't call the timeout.
Is that Howard?
Howard.
Yeah, there
Howard.
you go.
There you go. I have his rookie card signed from Kansas State.
No, I'm glad that's what they're worried about over at Ohio State, though. Let's spend our money drafting up bills to make felonies for opposing schools. That's a good use of everyone's resources.
Well, someone in chat says Michigan's going to be good this year. I don't know. They weren't good last year. They did beat Ohio State, though. See, I still hate the fact that a team lost. Like, it's literally rivalry game, but won the national championship. That bothers me. But that's why there's a college playoff, right?
All right, Joe, to the world of television for this one. Shrinking, Season 3. Big announcement today. One of the stars of Season 3 will be Michael J. Fox, the return to acting for one Michael J. Fox. Joe Murray, are you in or out?
Absolutely in. I love Michael J. Fox. I'm glad he's a part of it. For those who don't know, the show is actually about shrinks. Shrinks who actually have their own problems and shrinks who seek therapy. And what I like about the show is there's a lot of issues. Michael J. Fox lives with his own, right? So I believe adding him to the cast along with Harrison Ford and Jason Segel and all these guys, I think they're all going to have their own individual sickness that maybe people can relate to. And it's therapeutic, and I'm glad it's Michael J. Fox in.
Yeah, I think everyone loves Michael J. Fox. Good to see him back out there. Does an incredible work for Parkinson's. So, yeah, that's cool to see. I haven't watched Shrinking, but I think I'm going to check it out now.
Harrison Ford is amazing. What is he not good at, though?
No idea.
I have no idea.
I don't know. Flying planes, maybe. I think he's had some issues with his aviation at times. But other than that, I think he's pretty good.
Still here, though, right?
Still here.
Okay.
Joe Murray yesterday, as we just mentioned in the last segment, was schedule day. Joe Murray, are you in or out on the overwhelming social media videos and schedule release videos from every team, from Minecraft to Sabrina Carpenter to Josh Dobbs and the egg toss? Joe Murray, are you in or out on schedule release videos?
Out. I like the one that the Tennessee Titans did a couple of years ago when they found people on the street and asked them about the logos. That one was like, it was organic, right? The Tyreek Hill one, who came up with that one?
Tyreek Hill said it was funny.
Yeah,
he said he wishes they didn't take it down.
Yeah, but
a team can't post that.
Guys, if I came into the Jock Lounge, was like, dude, I got a great idea.
Yeah, no shot. Not touching that one.
Yeah. I mean, I try to keep it close to the line, but sometimes you can't. I will say, though, the Sabrina Carpenter and the ahem positions.
Slightly different from Felger's ahems.
Think about me. Oh, just me, I guess so. Duval. Right down, left, right, oh. Like Nintendo. I can't relate. I like the poses. I'll tell you that much. Did you ever see the Saturday Night Live, Domingo?
Oh, of course, yes, I've seen Domingo.
Oh, that's the best. That was one of my favorites of the year. All right, keep going. What else we got?
All right, Joe. You put this in Slack earlier today, I believe. Joe Murray, are you in or out on flag football at the Olympics?
In.
Are you in the idea that Patrick Mahomes would be?
Remember Will Demps? He was like a runner for the.
Who's the guy the Cardinals drafted a couple years ago? He ended up on the Ravens, I think, for a little bit. Maybe the Ravens. Josh Ross. Didn't he run like a 4.2? John Ross. Yeah. He could fly.
I want guys like that.
Bethel Johnson.
Yes. Like guys who can't make it, but like are just the best.
Give me Dante Hall and Devin Hester back there.
Yeah, no, not. Let me give you like a name. I'm sure that there are some really good. I don't want an NFL guy there.
None, not a single one.
You know, like, for example, flag football is really about technique and ability. So is it like the 5-on-5 with a pass rusher? Like, yeah, I think TJ Watt's one of the best pass rushers, but in flag football, is he fast enough? Like, don't you want a guy that can get from six yards faster than anybody?
Travis Hunter feels like a guy that is made for this.
Oh, yeah. Because he played both ways.
Yeah. See, like, I'm kind of in, like, if an NFL guy says, I want to go win a gold medal, like, who am I to say that's, like, you...
Do you know who I'm interested in? It might be too old. Terrell Owens.
I mean, he still looks good.
Maybe I'm crazy. But that would, like, excite me. Like, someone who's just still in shape. I'm in.
What if Tua did that? Might be not a bad career turn.
Tua would be a great flag football player.
Yeah, super accurate. Gets it out quick.
Oh, my God. Plus, he's a lefty. They'd have to rearrange the whole thing.
Little deception out there.
In. I think wiffle ball should be a sport, too.
So some of those wiffle ball videos, guys are playing a different sport. I don't even know what they're... Can't touch that thing.
Yeah, I know.
All right, Joe. Well,
I used to fold the ball. I used to take it and fold it, and then I'd throw it, and then it would pop.
Junk ball, yeah.
And I don't know how I did it. It worked.
All right, Joe. We'll end with this one tonight because I saw it, and I had to triple check it to make sure it was real. This is the headline, Joe. The Pokemon Fossil Museum is bringing real and fake Pokemon fossils to the U.S. next year. The Pokemon Company has confirmed the Pokemon Fossil Museum is coming to North America in May 2026. If you're wondering what on earth the Pokemon Fossil Museum is, it's exactly what it says. The special exhibition compares fabricated Pokemon fossils with ancient life forms found in real-world fossils. Joe Murray, are you in or out on the Pokemon Fossil Museum coming to the United States?
I don't get Pokemon.
You're a little too old, probably, right?
I just don't understand. I do cards. I break cards.
Oh, valuable.
I go to...
But I played it a ton as a kid. Still super popular.
What is Pokemon?
It's like a... I don't even know how to explain it to you. It's just a video game, really, where you're like a guy that travels around with your little pets, basically, and like your Pokemon, and try and catch them all, I guess, is the... You're trying to, there's like 100 and something of them, and you're trying to capture every single one of them.
Are they good or bad?
I think it's a lot like, dogs, Joe. It's there's good and bad. Might depend on the owner. I don't know anything about the Pokemon lore. I played it on like a Game Boy Advance when I was, 9-10 years old. There's shows, there's movies. I'm not well versed in Pokemon. I'm sure someone listening is screaming at me right now, but that's my knowledge of it.
Don't call.
Yeah, no. We've taken enough calls tonight.
I'm going to be at a card show this weekend if you want to come and see me. But I'm still not going to listen.
Those cards are probably very valuable, though, I'd imagine.
Well, so the funny thing is I have cards from Pokemon. And I have people being like, hey, I'll buy those off you. And I don't sell them. You know why? Because I don't know anything. I don't want to give somebody a good deal and I could be tapping at me before, Skaz. I had a Chet Holmgren rookie green Monopoly. They made 3 of them. Sold it for $300. It was worth $2,500. I'm pissed. So I didn't know any better. What is a Pokemon?
I believe they were originally called Pocket Monsters.
And that's how they got Pokemon?
I don't know. I'm really stretched thin here, Joe. I'm trying.
I didn't have Joe learning about Pokemon on my 25 bingo card. I didn't either.
Educational program.
Brokerage Babe has physical pain. I'm not going to sell my cards. Don't worry. I'm only selling the ones that are for sale. Anything else tonight, Skez?
Nah, it's going to wrap up a Thursday night edition of In or Out.
Nobody likes that Pokemon fossil. I've gotten already a few. I've gotten a few people who already told me he's out. Somebody said I had a interesting reference tonight. Now I feel like I have to look up if I did it, I didn't know. No. Someone said, hey, did Joe have a Lady Chatterley comment? And I don't even know who that is. I had to look it up. It wasn't. I don't know what I did, but if you thought I did it, maybe I'm smarter than you think. Nah, probably not. All right. Go to break here. I'm Joe Murray, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
From the Town Fair Tire Studios, this is Boston's home for sports.
Holiday 3. Good night. Jaylen forces it up over. No. Somebody tied it.
Oh. WBZFM and HD Boston. 95 The Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station. Sports Hub headlines. Presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
All right, NBA playoff after one quarter. Denver has a 31-28 over Oklahoma City. OKC looking to close them out. Right now, third period. Hurricanes, Capitals tied at 1. Carolina with a 3-1 series lead. Later on tonight, Stars look to close out Winnipeg up 3-1. Headlines, they are brought to you by Awake Immunity Weight Loss. Give yourself a goal of losing 40 pounds by the 4th. It's doable, it's easy, and your summer self will thank you. AwakeImmunityWeightLoss.com. I'm Joe Murray.
Here we go.
Boom. I win. Boom. Yeah.
It's so funny.
We've got a passion for Boston sports.
Get angry.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
All right, back here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Riz is checking in. Joe, they used to call you Snorlax. on the Twitch chat because you would see it during the AM show. I never fell asleep on that show. But sometimes when I look down, it looks like I'm sleeping. I never slept.
Are you aware Snorlax is a Pokemon?
No.
I think that's what he was, yeah. He was tying it all back together.
Snorlax is a sleeper?
Yeah, I believe so. Yes, that's kind of his thing.
Is he a sleeper and a sniffer? And a dipper?
Yeah, why not?
Because he's a sleeper. He's a sniffer. He's a dipper. And he's better. Well, I can't believe people thought I'd fall asleep like that. Do people think Wallach falls asleep? Does Hardy? Does Fred? Does anybody fall asleep? I don't think anyone falls asleep. I don't think Ryan Beaton's falling asleep. I don't think Adam 12 does either. Well, you know what? It's funny now that I think about it. If I'm going to be a Pokemon, I might as well be the Snorlax. Who are there? Are there any others? Are there any other big ones?
Oh, man, Joe, it's been a while. Snorlax is a great one. Like, you know.
You think that if I was to be
sleepy, if that's what they're going for,
I was to, like, okay, there's things in life, like the dwarfs, right? Would I be like dopey? Well, who would I be? You know? Like if I was a Smurf.
Give Snorlax a quick Google, Joe. Instant reaction here.
Snorlax. Okay. Oh, he's big. I can see someone thinking that I would look that comfortable.
He does look very comfortable.
He's got a nice big old belly.
Seems pretty happy from the pictures.
What's Bulbapedia?
Is that like Pokemon Wikipedia? If I had to take a shot in the dark there?
Snorlax is a huge dark blue-green Mama Million Pokemon with a cream-colored face, belly, and feet. He has a... Nope.
People in chat are saying there are over 1,000 Pokemon. I thought there was like 150.
You got to be kidding me. I don't want to know. I'm out.
That's too much. Too much.
It's like, you know, I liked Game of Thrones, but I don't want to know all the characters. You know? Like, just give me the main ones and I'll follow those guys. You know? Someone said Joe equals Warlord. Do you know who that is?
I'm going to guess it's another Pokemon. I'm unfamiliar with that one.
What would Greenie be?
There's got to be a green Pokemon out there.
Jack is checking in saying that he loved the HBO Skinamax saxophone series as well. Seriously, a show would start and it would be like Miami. It would like, look at Miami. And then all of a sudden you'd hear and it's like, you know, a guy getting dressed and he's like combing his hair. He's about to walk down the street. Okay. Hey, we got what would be Barstool Greenie's Pokemon? I wonder if he's a fan. We'll ask him. We'll do it next here on the Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. On the way.
Somebody that I saw last night at Game 5. His name is Dan Greenberg. He's known as StoolGreenie, StoolGreenie. And he's joining us here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. How you feeling, Greenie?
Joe, I'm all over the place. I was just saying, one minute, it's depression, it's, the sky is falling, and then we have a Game 5 like last night, and my spirits are up, and I imagine I'll be all over the place until, the end of Game 6, depending on how it goes.
What do you think has more feelings right now, Celtics or Knicks fans?
Probably still Celtics fans. I mean, it's just they're still not out of the hole yet, so it's still, it's still tensions are high. It's the potential embarrassment of losing this series is still there. So I'm certainly on edge, and I imagine many of my fellow Celtics fans are the same way.
Your boss was at the game last night. His name is
sitting on the wood.
That's right. I saw that. And he, he gave you, put you over big time. Love the way that you write. Love the way that you talked about the team. And, we talked the other night and just how they need to hit their shots, right? And, without Jason Tatum, which we'll get to in a minute. But without him, they had a high assist number. They touched the paint a bunch of times. I mean, I don't know. They looked like a team that was desperate and went back to playing winning basketball.
This is a topic. I feel like I'm being gaslit, honestly, because they play this way all the time, and they played this way in the first 2 games that they lost. In fact, they averaged more passes per game in those losses than we saw last night. So I sort of reject this idea that all of a sudden the ball's popping, the ball's moving. It really just came down to early in the series, they missed every shot they had. Every wide open 3, nothing dropped. Last night, they made it. And I know that sounds stupid to dumb it down like that, but it's really just been an execution and shot-making issue, not a system or play style issue. And it just really gaslights me to think that just because they played well with Jason Tatum, suddenly I'm supposed to be told that they're playing a different way. I just reject that entire premise.
Well, how about defensively? They definitely played different.
Well, I think their issues defensively was, they weren't staying in front. They weren't rebounding. The rebounding last night is really what stood out to me. Cornette was getting there. Jaylen was getting there. They were tapping the ball to Peyton Pritchard instead of, tapping it to a Nick. So I think the fact that they were able to end their possessions cleanly is why the defense felt so much better. They weren't giving up extra shots. They weren't giving up these dagger threes off a fumbled ball out of bounds like we saw in game 4, I believe. So it's just a matter of being better on the margins, being connected, and playing, like your season is on the line, because it is.
Yeah, I thought there might just a little bit more urgency, maybe. More attention to Brunson, I would say. I thought that they let Josh Hart take his shots. They rebounded, to your point. But that third quarter, the moment that stands out to me is Hart and Brown. Like, Brown kind of set the tone like, hey, we're not getting pushed over. They could have tapped out. They had a lot of reasons to give up last night, and they didn't.
Yeah, and I think that's the champion mentality that you want to see. I think the resiliency has been a staple of this.
All right, can you talk a little bit about Drew Holiday last night? At times he covers Karl Anthony Towns, right? Mm-hmm. Did it happen the other way around too, Holiday offensively on Cat?
I think it's something where he was just so good at picking his spots yesterday. I think, honestly, it might have been one of his best overall playoff games as a Celtic. He was efficient. He didn't force things. I loved how early in the game he was abusing his mismatch, getting to the rim. He was patient. He didn't have any of that CTE ball where he's just, mindless turnovers and high leverage situations. And you said the defense on Cat, he gave up 6 points on 27 possessions defensively, which is just, as a guard, I don't know if that's more of an indictment on Towns than it is, to Holiday's credit. But, there's been a lot of talk of how they're going to get under the second apron. Do you offload his deal? I'm watching him last night thinking there's no way you can let this guy go. He's such a Swiss Army knife, and he's so valuable when he's playing locked in and playing smart. He was honestly one of the best players in the game last night, and I really don't think that should be overlooked.
So I think he actually took shots. Not so much in the first half, but second half, he wasn't shy about taking shots, and he knocked him down. I think he's starting to get hot a little bit. So I just wanted to get back to your point about shots going in. And you're hearing from people that, oh, look, they changed the way that they played. Do you think that they changed the way that they played even without Jason Tatum? And that's the calls we've been getting tonight. Like, I can't stand it. Like, I think the Missoula ball works, and I think it is a philosophy. I also think Jaylen Brown had 12 assists, something you've never seen before, right? And had 8 rebounds. So to me, like, in a way, I kind of back you that they didn't change the way they played. But at the same time, when you put different players on the court, it does look different.
Right. Well, it's not a rocket science take to think that with Tatum not available, things are going to look different, right? Now it's Jaylen's creation, or it's, Derek White running the show. Like, I feel like the guards initiated things a lot more last night. But the overall basis and strategy of how they play is exactly what we've seen them do for 200-plus games. And all I can do is point to their first 4 makes of the fourth quarter. How many times did you hear, stop shooting these threes, attack the paint, blah, blah, blah? Well, 3 of their first 4 makes were threes, and only 1 of them, a player touched the paint. You had Drew Holiday pull-ups. You had Peyton Pritchard isolation step-backs. It's like they literally played the exact same way. It's just now that these shots went in and they were successful, it's this idea that things were entirely different and they can't play this way when the shots are going in, when they're not making. And it's not a results thing. It's a process thing. You could still have great ball movement and miss a wide open 3. That doesn't make the 3 a bad shot. You were hearing after games 1 and 2 that those were bad shots. Well, last night they made those same looks, and now I'm being told this is how the Celtics need to play. So which is it? It's like it can't just be based on what the result is. You have to look at how it's being generated, and they were all the same type of look.
What's your take when you hear people, national media, local media, say that they were better last night without Jason Tatum?
Again, I feel like I'm being gaslit. It's honestly the laziest argument, and you hear it all the time. We used to hear it back when Isaiah Thomas was there, and he would sit a game, and they would play well. It's like, they don't need Isaiah Thomas. It's like, these are still NBA players. These are still champions. These are still all-stars. Of course they're still going to have success. The Knicks' defense isn't good. So it's like, I feel like it's just a way to anger Celtics fans to garner engagement, because any person with a logical brain would never suggest they play better, they play a different style. It's more of a advantageous position. He's one of the best players in the world. They play a system with him or without him. That's the same. So I feel like I'm being gaslit anytime I hear it.
All right, people in our chat are asking, who do you think the refs will be tomorrow?
Well, I don't know. Do you know who is working this Nuggets-Thunder game?
I don't, but I got a feeling we're either going to get Gobble or Zarba. I don't know, Skaz. You got anything on us on that one? I don't know why. I don't think we're going to get Foster.
No, I don't think we're getting Foster. We got Tony Brothers last night, so we're not getting him.
He sucked.
I would be nervous about a little bit of a Mark Davis appearance. He's sneaky, kind of a thorn in their side. Normally, it's when Jason Tatum plays, he kind of doesn't. Or maybe I would say Mark Davis, but because they already had Zarba in this series, I believe. So I'm going to vote for Davis.
Mark Davis is doing the OKC Denver game right now.
Never mind then. Okay then. So yeah, he's out. So probably Goebel. Hopefully it's not Ben Taylor. I don't want to see him anywhere near this game 6. But either way, I think they just have to block that out and execute, because you know that they're not going to have calls. You know that if they let their focus up for a second, the crowd and the environment can just let the thing snowball. I think they have to make sure they play through the whistle. They sort of struggled at that last night at times, but that's the Tony Brothers special. You knew that was coming from, the minute he was announced, but this is too important of a game. You can't let something like that sort of get you off track.
I thought Tony Brothers was bad on both sides, so not like...
Oh, awful. I think it's the one thing that both Celtics fans and Knicks fans will agree with, and it's just so mind-boggling that, he's still getting these games. It's like, We're not here to see you, Tony. Please just let us watch the game.
You know what? Speaking of that, Missoula made that coach's challenge on that Derek White play. The Knicks were moving a little bit there. They challenged it. It was a big time challenge. It put Derek White at the line, but you know, I thought Missoula was perfect last night.
It was honestly redemption for some of his rougher games this series, and you know, I think a lot of what people are pointing to is the Cornette decision. But honestly, I thought he managed the game well. I thought, you know, the challenges were great. There were horrendous calls that, you know, a blind person could make. So, you know, it was good that he stuck up there. I almost thought he was going to get a tech because he went like right into the middle of the court going after that official that called the Derek White foul. So I just think for him, it's just be normal, right? Don't try to do anything wacky. Don't be too committed to a certain rotation. Do what works, and I think he did that last night. And if he does that on Friday night, it should work out.
All right, Greenie, I need you to tell me somebody that's going to make an impact in this game, like a Luke Cornette last game. Who's going to be the guy? Either team. Who's going to be the guy in Game 6?
I'm looking at Sam Hauser. You know, I couldn't help. He made his sort of off movement transition threes. If that ankle is fine and he can hold up, he has the kind of spacing and can get hot in a minute that is going to make them very, very tough to guard. Because you got to think they're going to be super focused in on Jaylen. They're going to be super focused in on White. There's going to be that role to be who's going to be the number 3 guy who can make some shots and alleviate that pressure. I think it's going to be Sam Hauser. The way that he was moving last night and the fact that he saw the ball go in, I feel like he's going to have the confidence. And it just feels like this could be a 4 or 5 threes off the bench type of game that keeps the Knicks at arm's length. So I'm hoping it's Sam Hauser.
I'm going to give you a name. Kristaps Porzingis.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
I think that they're going to he won't start. I think they're going to try him out in the first. And I think he's going to give him something. But he's giving him nothing. Like, he can't even hit his free throws.
I mean, he's giving him less than nothing. And you feel bad because obviously he's dealing with something. But at the same time, you got to give him something if you're going to play.
Got to feed the big boy. I think we get a unicorn appearance tomorrow.
Interesting.
And
okay.
That's a hot take because, you know, nobody knows what the hell's going on with him. That's just I'm lucky if that one happens. Not good. That's all luck. What else, man? I see you watching. I know you're tweeting out some stuff, but are you now watching bigs in the draft this year?
So I don't know too much about it. I saw there was that guy from Creighton. I saw some workout video where he hit a couple threes. I just think they need to go big man in the draft, period. I mean, I'll rely on the college basketball experts to tell me who that player is. But from a position standpoint, because you don't know what's going to happen with Al, you don't know what's going to happen with Cornette in free agency and the price. I mean, he's basically a max center at this point after last night. So I just, the only big on your roster would be Neemias Queta, and I just don't think you can avoid the big man spot. Brad has drafted wings, he's drafted guards, he's drafted a shooter. It's time for him to find the next, great big man.
You're talking about Ryan Kalbrenner from Creighton.
Yeah, I mean, people tell me he's kind of slow-footed, which I don't love, but a 7-footer who can stretch the floor at pick maybe like 32. As long as it's a big man who, can maybe make a roster, I'm in.
I think he could play because he's a defensive center but can shoot the three.
Boom, I'm in.
Literally, and played with Baylor Shireman. So, maybe they could get that little. They did it before with Purdue guys, right? They've done it before. They've tried to get.
Well, listen, that didn't go up. People may not remember that dark age of the Celtics era, but what was it? Juwan Johnson and
Etuan Moore.
Etuan Moore, who actually had a good NBA career, but not with the Celtics.
Yeah, and then Ron Mercer happened, and was it Antoine Walker and Walter McCarty?
Yep.
Yeah, those are the days I grew up. Those are the post Reggie Lewis days. All right, Greenie, we'll be watching tomorrow night, man. And if this thing goes 7, we'll try to talk to you after the game next week.
Listen, from your lips to God's ears, I need it.
Hey, real quick, how was the New England beef?
Oh, let me tell you, as a Worcester native, I was NERB's first customer when it opened in like 2002 when I was in high school. It does not get better for if you are a Worcester native and you are a fan of a delicious roast beef sandwich. I cannot recommend New England roast beef enough. Unbelievable.
Are you a Boynton or Soul guy?
I'm a Boynton guy, but the old Boynton, not the new age, where you have to abide by the rules of the law. Boynton. I liked it, back in the day where it was maybe a little bit more shady and a true Worcester icon.
I used to do radio shows at Irish Times back in the day.
Oh yeah, great spot. I
think they called it Irish Crimes back then. The good old days, Greenie. All right, man.
Oh, the best.
Good luck tomorrow, man. We'll hopefully talk to you next week if they move on.
All right, guys.
You got it, man. Appreciate you. It's Greenie. It's StoolGreenie, who had a beef today. And from Worcester, Massachusetts, they got some hills. The Worcester Hills. It's the heart of the Commonwealth. Oh, yeah. Worcester, Massachusetts. What a wonderful city. Oh, yeah. Do you hear that song when you listen to Beetle and Zoe?
Of course.
Know which one? I know another one I get? Scott Zolak, backup quarterback.
Some catchy tunes on the midday.
He goes, not as good as Drew, but he's a whole damn better than you. Scott Zolak, backup quarterback. That guy, by the way, who I've talked to before.
Yeah, can we get a Joe Murray song? A Joe Murray show song?
He might have done one of me in the past when I worked mornings, but he was... It
was a very evil laugh.
Yeah, it was an evil laugh. Water poop was his... a lot of diarrhea.
I vaguely think I have a recollection of this, yes.
Water poop.
Yes.
And I believe he can shred. Like guitar shred. Because, no. That's a different guy. Sorry. No, water poop is this guy, though. But there's a guy that can shred. Like, crazy shred. And he, does songs. I don't know what our chat is saying, but I'm sure they were... I know there's P1s in there. Einbein, big Worcester fan. Jay Buck, what's up? Joe needs to give some minutes to Kada. See? Einbein, water poop. He remembers. All right, let's get to the headlines here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
All right, Thunder lead 54-46. 3 minutes to go in the second quarter. So we're going to need some more points there to hit that over. How able to do it the other night, and news came out the other night on Pete Rose, and it bothered me. So now I would like to talk about it. So Pete Rose is dead. He's dead. And now Major League Baseball allows him now to go to the Hall of Fame, or be on the ballot for the Hall of Fame. Excuse me, I should say that correctly. So Pete Rose will now be on the ballot. It always seems strange having a Hall of Fame that didn't include the man who got the most hits in history, the man with the most home runs in history, Bonds, the pitcher with the most Cy Young awards, Clemens, the guy who broke Roger Maris' single-season home run record, McGwire. So all those things are true, right? All those players aren't in the Hall of Fame. If Pete Rose eventually does land in the Hall, does it put those guys in a different light? I know there's transgressions on the Hit King, but could they tell the story, the modern baseball story, about the path of Pete Rose? Pete Rose's story isn't the same as those other guys, though. All the other guys appeared on the Hall of Fame ballot, the baseball writers' ballot. They've all come up short to the voters. Rose, though, has never shown up on any ballot. His eligibility now for the writers' ballot's over. Now, I don't know what the Veterans Committee will do. I'm just curious. It's the first time he's on the ballot. Does making him now on the ballot make people vote for him with his transgressions, while the other guys were on the ballot and they didn't vote for him? In a way, I feel like this is an easy way to get Pete Rose into the Hall of Fame. I'm out. If the other guys aren't in, Pete definitely shouldn't be in. And I'll acknowledge he's the greatest hitter of all time. As far as all-time hits, absolutely deserving for his play on the field to be in the Hall of Fame. But you learned as a young person, betting on baseball was the worst thing. Does Shoeless Joe Jackson now go on that list? Skaz, I ask you. The other guys didn't get the votes. Will Pete Rose?
I don't think he'll get the votes. I don't think Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame as a player. If you want to have like a Pete Rose section where he's, his achievements are in there and it's part of baseball history, I guess I'm all for that. But he did the one thing you can't do. He gambled on baseball. He doesn't deserve to be, in the Hall of Fame. It's the integrity of the game. I mean, nowadays with have active players doing live reads for these companies and stuff like that, I get it's a different world, but just this week, look at the NBA lottery and all the smelliness around that. So I think it's a very slippery slope how intertwined these two worlds have become. I think it is scary. I think it is kind of, gives you a little trepidation when it comes to some of these things. I don't think Pete Rose deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I don't care if you're the hits leader, you bet on the sport. For me, it's really that simple. Should his name, appear somewhere in there? Should he be acknowledged? Fine, if that's what you want to do. But he shouldn't get like the normal Hall of Fame reverence that other players, rightfully deserve because of what he did. It's his own fault that he's not in there.
It's absolutely his own fault. Now, the Shoeless Joe Jackson thing, at the time, he was one of the best hitters in baseball at that time. I know it's way before our times, guys, but he batted .356. He had almost 2,000 hits at the time. And if you know the story is he wasn't, he just played baseball. He wasn't the brightest bulb. And there's still now people who say that he didn't even know about the Black Sox scandal. He didn't know. Bucky Weaver knew about it and did nothing. He's not going to go. Can you tell the game of baseball without Pete Rose?
There's so many guys I'd put in above him.
Can you tell the game of baseball without him?
I mean, if he has the most hits, I would say no.
Won 3 or 4 championships. I mean, he was the nickname Charlie Hustle.
Yeah, also a bad guy who was a moron.
Blew me off 3 years ago in Dallas for a signing, and I've been out since. Bad guy? Yes. Did he hurt the integrity of baseball?
Yes.
Absolutely.
You could argue he did more damage than good, even while leading the league in hits.
This is why I say, can you tell the story of baseball without Pete Rose? I think he can, but at the same time, his damage is worth talking about.
I put Barry Bonds in over Rose 10 times out of 10.
I would put Roger Clemens in, Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire.
A-Rod.
I don't know about Rafael Palmeiro yet because, I don't know. But there are these – Pete Rose is like this get behind him, but, don't care about the morality. And no moral high ground on this show, by the way.
Yeah, and, there are things about Pete Rose, you could take the gambling out of it, and he doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. So, yeah, Pete Rose, bad guy.
Does Pete Rose belong in the Hall of Fame for his play on the field? Absolutely.
Yes.
But did he hurt the game more than he helped it? I would say yes.
Yeah, I don't even think you can debate that.
Out.
You're messing with the structural integrity of an entire league.
The one thing I'll say about Major League Baseball, though, who doesn't control this, let's see what the voters say. I'm interested. I'm actually, because if they vote him in, Clemens, Bonds, all of them should go in. Put them all in, and then tell the story. Right?
I'm out on him ever getting in, but I get what you're saying.
I can go. Listen, I'm out on Pete Rose going to the Hall of Fame.
My question is, why?
I just want to know what the ballot's going to say.
Why now?
He died.
Yeah, Shoeless Joe's been dead for 15 years?
I don't know. Maybe because the ballot's not going to look good coming up. I don't know. You know what's funny? I did this the other day. I was talking with somebody about future Hall of Famers, and it's going to be bad, guys. They're going to be voting guys in that
We already got Craig Biggio in there.
No, but I mean, I think K-Rod should be in. I think there are guys that should get in. But if we're going to be getting Freddie Garcia in over Roger, that's when I got problems. All right. Take a break. Got the musings next here on the Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub. Around here, we call them the Joe Murray Pre-Party. It's Felger and Maz afternoons right now. Joe Murray on the Sports Hub.
In a Sterling? Yeah, knock on wood, knock on something.
No,
Joe.
I don't want that. No. Because you know what I would do? I'd just start walking the Arthur Fiedler Bridge. And I don't know, man. I don't want to be on a star situation. I hate being stuck there after a game. I don't even go that way. I go the other way. I go Charlestown Bridge always. I saw this one. I did Mother's Day show with Cerrone this week, so I was mentioned this about the New York Post. My daughter-in-law is furious because I told her dog moms aren't real moms and didn't buy her a Mother's Day gift. Tell me that isn't petty. A woman who has a bone to pick after her mother-in-law told her she wasn't a mother. Jenny says her 2 fur babies do in fact make her a mom worthy of celebrating Mother's Day. I wanted to let her know she crossed the line. The 64-year-old grandmother writes that she has 3 kids who are all married. Her son and his wife are currently expecting her daughters as a young son. Jenny struggled. Okay, we don't need to learn about that part. With all her children, they were all busy for Mother's Day. She decided to share the love by sending her son and daughter a gift basket. However, Jenny didn't get one. After her daughter and daughter-in-law sent their thanks in the group chat, Jenny was quick to get on the phone. Quote, Jenny called me soon after and asked where her basket was. I was confused and asked what she meant. She clarified, I have 2 grandkids by her already, and said her dogs' names. It's not the first time Jenny has blurred the human-dog baby line. Jenny always made comments that her 2 dogs are the first grandkids. I always thought it was a joke. She is big on being a dog mom. Jenny believes she should receive equal recognition on Mother's Day. Mother's Day is for women that raise human children, is what she said. I was even more confused at this as she clarified that she is her dog's mother and should have gotten a basket. I told her she is not a mother. Mother's Day is for women that raise human children and not pet owners. She got really upset and cursed me out for not getting her a basket.
Yeah, out on that line of thinking.
Like the mom doesn't think that she should give her daughter Mother's Day gifts because this is why we do this.
Had a dog for 10 plus years. I never once thought, Father's Day.
Father's Day. Where's my golf club?
Miss me with that.
Where am I getting my dog?
Yeah.
Where my dog's at? You're right. No damn dog Father Day. All right. Well, that one got everyone in a tizzy. How about one more? TGI Fridays plans a massive menu change in hopes of a post-bankruptcy comeback story. Can TGI Fridays have a good comeback story? When making adjustments, they're taking a good hard look, that says. And they're looking at upgrading some of the menu items. To spruce up the menu, they are adding, ooh, look at this bad boy, the Big Queso Energy Burger. Ooh, look at that bad boy. TGI Sauce. The chain is launching a new all-purpose signature sauce. They describe it as creamy and tangy with a sweet, smoky kick. The mozzarella sticks, red hot buffalo, garlic parmesan, and the Fridays only whiskey glaze. Of course, they can still get the old original with all 3 sauces on the side. The Big Queso Burger, a messy burger. That's a lot of fun at Fridays. Chili's or Fridays? I think I'm Chili's.
Yeah. There's a Chili's in Rainham, so gotta go with that.
Do you know they have a $10 meal deal?
I think we may have done this. Was this last week, maybe?
Drink, chips and salsa, chicken crispers with corn on the cob and French fries. $10, guys. $10. That is eating good in the neighborhood. Is that their slogan?
I don't think so. I think that's somebody else.
Whatever. Birthdays today. How about... Ooh. I got to start with this one. Jamie Lynn. Chaz Palminteri, 79 years old. Oh, he's the guy from Ray Lewis? Numbers. Wait, how come he's not? That's not. Am I on the right date? May 15th, right? How is Ray Lewis not like at the top of this list? Numbers.
Andy Murray?
Him and I just saw, was it him and Federer?
Djokovic, I believe.
Oh, sorry, okay.
I think he was coaching him or something like that.
What happened there? I need more on that one.
Yeah, I don't know. Short-lived. Not much else, Joe. I'm looking around.
Well, this day is about Jamie Lynn, excuse me. You know, I see a lot of TikTok stars. You know any of these people? Chase Hudson, Lottie Weaver.
Nope.
Isabel Murray.
Nope.
All right, then. Well, that's it, Skins. It's your musings for
number 19.
Tatum pull it out.
Hear every playoff game right here. Your home for Boston Celtics basketball. WBC FM and HD1 Boston 98.5. The Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station. Sports Hub headlines. Presented by
3-1. They win the series 4-1, and Alex Ovechkin's season, record-breaking season, is over. No score right now. Midway through the first period between the Stars and Winnipeg Jets. Dallas, they have a 3-1 series lead. Third quarter right now, NBA playoffs tie game between the Thunder and Denver. Denver trails the series 3-2, trying to hang on. Nikola Jokic, 14 points, 8 rebounds, 9 minutes to go in the third quarter. Headlines are brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Give yourself a goal of losing 40 pounds by the 4th. It's doable. It's easy. It's your summer self. Well, thank you. Awaken180weightloss.com. I'm Joe Murray.
No matter where you go, you're always connected to Boston sports with the 98.5 The Sports Hub app. Download it wherever you get your apps today.
Here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Bow, wow, wow, yippee, yo, yippee, yay, bow, wow, wow. So we did some Hall of Fame talk a little while ago, Skaz. I've been looking down the road of the potential Hall of Fame classes. They're not going to be good. And I'm wondering if they're trying to jazz it up. So feel free to get in on that. Celtics fought back last night, forced a Game 6. Mentioned some of the Patriots' notes regarding their schedule. How about this Western Conference matchup real quick? Wolves and potentially the Thunder. Or will it be Denver again? So, SGA and Ant would be interesting, Skaz, but it also will fit a narrative in the league, right? But you get two young players on display. I know OKC's loaded. Like, they have a deep team and probably the best playing player in the league. But, like, if Caruso could hit his shots or if Dort could hit their shots, they'd be lethal. I still think Minnesota's depth and size would be the difference in that series. So, just taking a look ahead a little bit, Minnesota's a team I'm kind of interested in.
Yeah, and I think, obviously we were here last night, but Julius Randle was tremendous last night. He was great. And, it's kind of the rare case where that trade's worked for both sides. Like, New York was able to up their higher-end talent with Cat. They got a guy they can rely on, shoot, all that stuff. And Minnesota got, a reliable all-star caliber player in Randall, who's been a tremendous fit on their roster. And, DiVincenzo's helped them out. He's a good bench piece. So that's just one of those rare trades where it's worked out for both sides. And both of these teams are potentially in their, conference finals.
Mm-hmm. That's why I think the Celtics still have a shot. I got some odds for you. Let's do that coming up next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. On the way on 98.5. Everybody knows Joe.
just keeps getting better.
Joe Murray on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
The pre-game show with James Scaramuzzino and Joe Murray. Earlier tonight, we got some wild calls. You should have heard some of them last night, guys. I don't know if they're in there, actually. This would be a good time to play.
Oh, 2 nights ago, you're saying?
Yeah, 2 nights ago. See what's today, Thursday? So in Tuesday night carts, there was one guy who called me because he wanted to give me. He wanted to help me. I got pissed. And I know Stenberg was in there, so who knows? He might have like a safety. That was in there.
Joe, I'm looking at one of these calls. It's 6.5 minutes long.
No, it wasn't that long.
Maybe your reaction afterwards?
Maybe it's just was 6 minutes of bad calls.
Hold on. Let me keep searching.
It's while you're doing that. Let me just give you some odds. Celtics betting odds. They're plus 2.5, 3 some places for Game 6. They're plus 235 to win the series. They're plus 800 to win the Eastern Conference. They're plus 1,800 to win the championship. Now, I just did some research on this. The Celtics are 3-0 in Game 6s under Joe Mazzulla, and they were all away games. So this will be their first Game 6 played since that Miami Heat game, where they won on the last-second shot by Derek White. So they were the best road team in the league this year. Now they just have to, like Greenie said, hit their shots, play defense, win the third quarter, win the rebounding battle. I do think the pressure is on New York. I do. If the Celtics lose, they have a built-in excuse, right? We weren't right. Jason Tatum. The Knicks lose, and it's Tom Thibodeau's fired. Their dream of playing the Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals is dead. Like potentially going up against Minnesota, the team they made their trade with, dead. The Knicks fans were loud in Boston. I got to give them that. I think the Celtics team's up for it, though. I don't think they can win 3 in a row. I'm going to stand on my ground on that one. But anything can happen in a Game 7. Got to win tomorrow night. Did you look it up back there? I didn't know if you just saw what we saw there.
I got a couple, Joe. All
right, let's hear a couple from 2 nights ago. Help me! And to tell me that they're going to suck! That happened. You guys saw that, right, Matt?
God, help me! Help me, Rod. Help me!
That happens, guys. Are there more?
Yeah, this one goes on for quite a bit, Joe, so you can tell me when to stop.
All right, keep going. Joe is in Medford. Hey, Joe.
Yo, what's up, Joe? I love the show, man.
Yo, how high are you right now?
Yeah, so I got a list of 5 things we got in common. We can do that. Just let me know when.
All right, what's number one? What's number one?
So number 1 is, Joe, me and you have the same first and middle name.
You know my middle name?
We are both Joseph Michael.
How did you know that was my middle name?
You mentioned it one night.
I know. I've been on for a long time, so I guess I have said it. All right, what's number 2?
We're both Irish Catholic.
Yeah, I grew up with Italians, but yes, I'm Irish Catholic.
Yes, we both have Irish last names.
Well, technically mine would be Scottish, but it's okay. We won't parse words.
Oh, okay. You want to keep going? All right.
Yeah, 4.
Yeah. Number 3. So I grew up in like the same neighborhood that you're living right now. I grew up next to Route 1 and Route 114 right there.
Well, nice. Yeah.
Near Home Depot.
Okay. Yeah. I'm a couple miles away.
And number 4, I'm working as a driver in Watertown right now. I can deliver to the studio, but we both have great navigational skills. You mentioned that you are great. I'm great with maps. You're great with navigational skills.
Well, where in Watertown are you?
Yeah. East Watertown. Yeah.
You near the Halfway Cafe?
Yeah, I can make some things happen, Joe. I'll have to let you know.
I missed a lot, huh, Joe?
That guy didn't answer any of my questions. I asked him how high he was. He had 5 things. He got them wrong. Is there one more? Because I did yell at somebody yesterday.
Let me see. That was all I found so far.
All right, that's fine. We don't have to play anymore. The guy, was Woonsocket tonight? Did I talk about Woonsocket tonight or last night? Was that last night? The guy who called in? Yeah.
The one last night that made me laugh was the guy that was, let's see if I can find it. He started the call like he was ready to go. And then, well, here you go, Joe.
Hello, Mr. JoJo.
Hello, Mr. Tim Tim.
I was just wondering, I love Philly cheesesteaks, by the way.
Yes.
That was the call of the night last night.
It's been a week, man. And it's funny. Didn't you get a text earlier? Somebody said to Skaz, we should have our phone line sponsored by a dispensary. I know a couple of guys. I think some guy tried to tell me that he was in San Diego, but they had a Rhode Island pizza. And I asked if it smelled like Woonsocket, I think is what I said. I'm no offense to Woonsocket, anybody. I've been there before. Just was curious what it smelled like. Oh. Topher's on the line. Hey, Topher.
What's up? I'm calling because Mr. Einbein asked me to, so I'm doing so.
Do you know that Einbein was like a lumberjack, like a big man?
Was he a lumberjack and he's okay?
He wasn't like a lumberjack that was his job. He was just a very, very big guy.
Nothing wrong with being a big guy. I myself am a big guy.
I respect him because he's a man with one leg now. He now has a artificial leg, and he walks his dogs. And, he still does activities. And I commend him.
We love him in the YouTube chat. He's right. He's the high-end guy up there.
Hey, what'd you make tonight? I know you sent me some stuff, and I got distracted. Can we talk about what you made tonight?
I made a gorgeous artisan flatbread pizza that my dad likes. Put some classical pizza sauce on there. Some nice fresh mozzarella, not the stuff you get in the package. You actually grind it up yourself, throw it right on there. I know you're out on the onions.
Yeah,
there were some on there.
Is that what an artisan is? Is that what it comes with onions?
No, that was the kind of crust that I used.
Yeah, see, I love me a flatbread frozen pizza.
Mm.
When I was a kid, do you remember the Stofers?
Oh yeah,
they'd come in you would put them in a toaster oven. You would definitely burn the top of your mouth, but it was like a nice French bread or flatbread? I can't remember now. French bread, I think it was.
French bread, I think, was, oh, God. Well, they had like the little, I almost want to say they were tombstones, but I don't think they were. But there was the flatbread that was the French bread one that like had the really, really nice pepperoni that tasted really good.
Yeah. You know what I like that has really good pepperoni? Is a Hot Pocket.
Oh. I'm still a huge fan of, you mentioned at one point, Helios. Because I used to break those. Did you know you could break those into 3?
So that's the way I used to do it. But back in the day, I mean, why break them into 3 when you can eat it as 1?
Well, trying not to be as hey, I'm eating 1 for now, 1 for like 10 minutes later, and this way you can just divide them up. But oh man, they were good, especially when you're a kid. Perfect.
So you made your French breads.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like you put tin foil down. And what was the final result?
Final result was when I cooked for my dad, just happy. I think I spent about like $8 on like the whole ordeal, and it's better than spending $30 on 2 pizzas.
You know what? I think we should discuss the cost of a large pizza these days.
You know, when I worked for Domino's, like way back in the day, it used to be dough sauce and cheese. It was $9.99 for a large cheese, and it was like $2.18 to make.
So nowadays, it's $5.99, but you got to buy 2 additional things. So like you can buy 3 things $5.99 in. It's like $22 after tax. That's how much a pizza cost. That's how much a pizza cost.
But for how much it is to make, it's like dirt cheap still.
I know. I think pizza is like the best grossing thing going right now. Because what does the dough cost? What does the cheese cost? What do the toppings cost? What if they just kept it simple, cheese and pepperoni? What if they didn't go beyond that?
You know, there's still pizza places out there that still make their own dough. And when they make their own dough, they cut the cost immediately in half because you don't have to pay for the tray. You don't have to pay for the ship out.
True.
You don't have to pay for it to be frozen. You basically do everything. And then when they actually throw it out there, I know you're a Market Basket guy. So when you take like a dough from Market Basket, they make it at the kitchen and then they sell it for like $1.09.
Did you know?
So then you just slap out your own.
I got a secret.
Tell me.
Can't tell anybody though.
Then I don't know. I think everybody in the chat can actually keep a secret.
If you go to Market Basket when it's about to close, everything that they made or that's available a la carte is 50% off.
Oh, I'm sold at that.
So, like, let's say they close at 9 and you're there at 8:40. You'll get one of those, tension shoppers, blah, 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 50% off, and then that's when you...
Like the Market Basket Blue Light Special. Go grab it and go.
Exactly. Well, anyways, I discovered that recently.
That's a beautiful thing to win a Market Basket.
All right, Topher. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Bye. John's in Bridgewater. John.
It's the Elio's pizza, the Tombstone pizza.
Elio's?
Elio's. That's the one. That's the little square pizza. That's the one that everybody wants.
Okay.
Way better than Mama Celeste.
Ooh.
Oh, I know. That's a tough one.
One was cheaper, though.
Yeah, it was the Mama Celeste that was cheaper.
Why? I thought it was Elio's. Is Elio's?
Yeah, whatever. It's your own patois.
What? Do you have like an accent or something?
I don't think so.
And you're from Bridgewater?
Yep.
Do you know Skaz?
I don't know. Do I know Skaz? Skaz? Do we know each other?
Skaz is from Bridgewater. Rainham.
Yeah, no, not Bridgewater. East Bridgewater specifically.
Yeah, I don't know. East Bridgewater, that's a different world out there.
Too many farms, I guess.
All right, buddy.
Calling in from the wind tunnel, Joe.
He was making some noises. You hear him?
It was tough to decipher what was him and what was the wind.
Jake's in the car. Jake.
Hey, Joe. First time, long time. Love the show.
Thank you.
I just wanted to correct you on the $5.99 Domino's. It's I don't know if it's the tariffs or what, but they're $6.99 now for the 2 or more items, and it's a medium pizza.
So it's gone up.
Yeah, Joe, get it right.
It has gone up. It's ridiculous.
Wait, I mean, do you work at Domino's or are you just you frequent them?
No, I'm just a connoisseur.
Domino's 3-meal deal. Hang on. I want to.
But frozen pizzas, Tombstone, and Red Baron are the way to go. Only way. French bread.
Oh, yeah, 2 guys talking now.
Yeah, I'm with my buddy in the car here.
What's the worst frozen pizza?
Oh, I don't really like the Celeste, honestly.
Oh, I love Mama Celeste.
They're good when you're on a budget.
What about Tostino's pizza rolls?
Love them. Doesn't get better than that.
What about a lean cuisine?
I've never tried those.
Have you, Skess?
A lean cuisine? No.
I think, okay, so my mom used to buy those. So I think in like maybe 1998, I might have had one, and it was like a grilled chicken lean cuisine with like rice and broccoli.
It's offensive.
But like, you can't cook. You're a kid. What do you do? Oh, geez, the phone lines. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it just blew up.
I'm sorry about this. This was not my intention. How did we get on this?
I don't even know, Joe. You played calls from the other night.
No, the guy called from Kentucky about a Rhode Island pizza, and I asked if it smelled like Woonsocket. See, I used to go to this place called MJ's in Rosslyn, and I'd walk in when I was a kid. He'd give me those Auntie Peggy free cookies every time I walked in. I think the guy's name was Steve. And there was a baseball card shop next door named Rookies. So I'd order my pizza, but do you know I can get 2 slices of pizza and a can of soda for $5. $5, dude. 2 slices and a can.
Can't beat it.
Where can you get that now?
Joe, someone in chat says Totino's pizza rolls in the air fryer.
Elite. And you know what's funny about them? Sometimes in the microwave they explode. But in the air fryer, they crispen.
This is when YouTube really has the advantage because the animation Joe has right now for...
there are some things not made for a microwave. A Tostino pizza roll and a hot dog.
Yeah, you got to go oven or air fryer.
Hot dogs, man. Trust me, I've watched hot dogs explode. I don't know why I love that. I used to love watching a hot dog just...
There's a drop.
All right, what's the score of these games? I'll tell you next on the Sports Hub.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
All right, Denver looking to hang on. They right now have a 95-86 lead over Oklahoma. on the phones. I'll get to you in a second here. Some Celtic stuff. In Jaylen Brunson's postseason career with the Knicks, they have an 8-12 record following a win and a 9-3 record following a loss. I mentioned the Celtics are 3-0 in Game 6 in the Joe Mazzulla era. I mentioned those 9-3 record following a loss. 7 of the 9 wins, which followed a loss, were decided between 2 and 9 points. Also, we got an update that the Celtics sale is going to be finalized soon. And there'll be a new incoming ownership group led by Bill Chisholm. Only box left to check is approval by the NBA's Board of Governors, which is expected to vote in June or July. Still waiting on that one. I'm not ready to die. I'm not ready to get off the hill. I just don't know if I'll die on it. But we'll see what the league does on that one. We will be on pregame tomorrow night, so I'll have a whole breakdown for the game. Maybe throw some bets out there. Just as far as the betting line goes, it was 2.5 when it opened. It went to 3, 2.5. Based off that line, I think they're trying to get you to take New York. Last game, I thought setting it at 5 was trying to get you to bet New York. So I think Vegas is setting the line to get more money on New York. Again, I said get more money on New York. The value's Boston. The value's Boston. Telling you. Doesn't mean they win. I'm just telling you, based off that line, this should be a higher line. It's not. Makes you wonder. Luke is in the car. Luke.
Howdy, Joe. So you mentioned Celtics. I got more pizza stuff, but you mentioned Celtics, and going back to earlier in the show, I agree on the point of you keep Tatum and Brown. Don't break them up and sell one off because you think you're going to be trash. That's foolish. I would also add to that, do your best to keep Derek White and Peyton Pritchard, keep those 4 together across the long term for when Tatum gets back. But regarding pizza, you're a Brosley guy, so I got to ask, do you know if Cabela's is still doing the $5 large pizza?
I don't know. I haven't been there in a long time, but I like their pizza, and I love that Sammy's swinging mess they have.
Yes, excellent. Another piece regarding frozen pizzas that you were going over. 100% correct. The Stouffer's French bread, crispy outside, gooey inside, incredible. But more importantly, Marie Callender. This isn't necessarily pizza, so I apologize. But Marie Callender, she does a buffalo chicken thing, kind of like the Totino's pizza roll. The outside is the same thing as the pizza roll, but the inside is buffalo chicken and blue cheese. It's exceptional if you haven't had it before.
Who has it?
Put it on your list, Joe.
Okay. I like buffalo. What are we dipping it in? Blue cheese or ranch? Or how about both? How about cranch? Einbein in Connecticut. What's up, Pa?
Hey, Joe. How you doing, man? I'm a little off my game. I just spilled a half of a 32-ounce Cumbie's iced coffee all over my desk and my computer, so I'm a little scattered right now.
Drinking coffee at 10:50 at night, bro?
Yeah, I mean, my wife brought it home, and I just dumped some ice in it earlier and been drinking it. So I wanted to thank Topher for shouting out to me, and I want to shout out to the Twitch fam, as Riz always does. Love your show, dude. I don't really have much else to say. I apologize for being off my game.
No. Okay. But, what, you got a thought on tomorrow night?
Yeah, I think it's going 7. I think the C's winning at home, and I'm really up on them.
How do you feel about the son of Mohegan's son, the Mystics potentially moving?
Oh yeah, I'm not really. Yeah, I don't care about that much.
Why? I mean, it was such a big deal this year. WNBA was in Boston, and everybody freaked out.
Yeah, I know. Jay Buck is a big WNBA fan, but I'm not really. But no, I think it's great. I've never seen a game there. It's a little far from me right now since I don't drive much.
How are you getting around? For our listeners who don't know, Einbein stands for one leg, I believe.
Yeah, so my left leg I lost below the knee, and then the MRSA that took my left leg, came back and attacked my right hip a year later, and then messed up my right leg, and now I need a knee replacement, but it's kind of scary because I have a high infection risk, but I'm having that done July 31st, so hopefully things get better for me then.
Well, hopefully we can be with you. So if you,
I mean, I want to meet you, sir. I really do want to meet you, man.
I'm going to be.
Yeah,
I'm going to be at Polar Park. July. I'll send you the date. I forget what date.
Yeah, you said the 26th.
There it is.
Which is like 5 days before my surgery, so maybe I can get up there and meet you then.
Oh, all right then. That'd be.
And then maybe someday I can make you some smoked ribs or something when I'm better.
I'm
a big rib guy. I make some really good dry rub ribs.
Thanks, Einbein. Appreciate you, buddy.
I love that sound, Joe. Talk to you later, man.
Bye. Right up to the buzzer, Skez. We go right to the whistle, baby. Of course, this hour of the Sports is brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change, the official oil change of Busy People. Save 15% off your next oil change. We got to go. Tomorrow night, Game 6. Right here on 98.5 The Sports.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.